All right. Welcome back to the channel. And I know I'm super duper late, 42 minutes late, but things happen, life happens. And for everybody that's rocking with me, I appreciate you guys for coming through. We got our Ravens preseason roundtable coming up, and I'm gonna bring our guests in first before we get started. We'll start off right here with Hendo. Welcome to the show, Hendo.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So I found Hendo's channel, I say about 3 maybe 4 weeks ago, and I would see different things they would put out. But the other day, I saw like when you had something and it was like a couple days before you did it, or maybe later on the day, and so I hit the button to remind myself. So that's and I came in, and by this time you had this guy on, which is Mike, OTR Mike. And so the conversation that you guys had, I was really impressed with. I kind
Thank
of
you.
got into it in the chat box, and I felt like these were, like I was telling you guys off camera, these are guys that if I saw in real life, we can go out and have a good time, talk football, be respect, talk life, not just football, but talk
Yeah,
life, be
Indeed.
respectful and just enjoy each other. It's like I feel like you the guys that grew up in my era and have a a great understanding of just life, not just football. I feel
hmm
like these guys could be my friends if we grew up in the same era or whatnot. So I was really impressed with you guys' conversation that
Thank you.
day. So I'm glad to have you guys on. Hopefully this won't be the last time. It'll be the start of a great collaboration
for
amongst
sure.
fellas. And
Anytime.
so I got two more guys that I feel the same way about that too. And Chris already know that from my time on the Deep Cover podcast. So I brought in Chris. Chris just joking. What's up, Chris?
What's going on, Coach? What's up, everybody? I'm glad to be here. Chop it up with you fellas and get into this Ravens football, man.
and our last guest, I was hoping to have two, but I got half of it. We got Jose from Lunch
Just one
Break Hot
today.
Take, and I appreciate you guys you for coming through. And I still want to say I don't know if I said it when you sent it to me, but I think I was one of the first ones to get one of those coins, and
Yes.
this coin is still sitting on like you couldn't see it if I was at home, but it's still sitting like right there next to my my stream yard.
Actually,
So
we don't even have any of these. We made very few. They're limited edition. Limited
I got
edition.
one.
So I want to
I
make
got
sure
one.
this
Indeed.
this this the one we got right now. This our current one. That's our current one. All right.
I got the first edition.
Yes.
If
Yeah.
anybody
Because
wants
look,
for $1
hey,
million, you can have it.
man, Coach, we really appreciate you. You know, I appreciate your work. I told you, man, like we reference you at least one time every week on our show. You know, like you do great stuff. So it's always an honor to come on this show and chop it up with you.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna intro everybody, let them tell you the audience where they can find their work, and some of you may already know, but we'll start with Hendo.
All right. You can find me at Ravens Online on Gatekeeper on YouTube, or you can find me at our Gatekeepers on Twitter and Instagram.
All right, Mike.
What's up, everybody, man? Coach, first of all, thanks for having me on, man. And I agree with everything you said. I feel like if I saw you at a bar or something, we would definitely chop it up and kick it. But yeah, man, I'm 1/4 of Off the Record podcast, and then I'm 1/3 of Ring Kings podcast. Get everything you want about boxing with my brother Jose. So yeah, man, find us there.
All right, Jose. He segue right into you.
All right. Well, lunch break hot take. That's where you can find us on YouTube. We do a live show every Wednesday night at 7:15 p.m. And you can find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at LBHT Show.
All right, Chris.
Man, my antennas went up when he said boxing. I was like, oh damn, we might have to veer off on this one. But no, you can find me on Twitter at Chris Just Joking. I'm 1/3 of the Deep Cover podcast with Michael Crawford and Kerry Stevenson, my co-host. So you can check us out there. And yeah, any questions, hit me up on the timeline.
All right. So, audience, this is what we're gonna do. We have a few topics we're gonna hit, and you can still put your questions in the chat box, and we'll work our way to them toward the end. But we got a few topics we're gonna start off with to hit, and if you have any questions about those topics, put them in there, and we'll come back to them toward the end. And if it's something that just jumps out, we may just jump in and answer right then. So don't hesitate to put your questions in there. The only stupid question is the one not asked, so we're gonna go from there. All right. First on the docket. Hold on, get right. Defensive expectations. And let's kind of set the scene here. We have a new DC, which is McDonald. He was there. He's new. He was there for a while, coaching linebackers. Left, went to Michigan, I guess on a prove it deal, and then got hired when Wink was let go, and however that went or whatnot. And so now he comes in with some familiarity with the linebackers because that's what he coached. He had some familiarity with some of the players that were there when he was there, but now he comes back as the man. And so I think him coming back is the reason David Ojabo's on the team, and also what's the undrafted line? Ross. I think his name is John Ross. So if my defensive expectations, if everybody comes back and healthy, I think we have the best, if not one of the best secondaries in the league. And I just start with secondary and work our way down. Tell me how you feel about the secondary. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, I feel good about the secondary. Obviously, like you said, health is a big factor in that. You got MP coming in, and coming off the ACL injury. You got Marlowe who had the shoulder injury. He's 100% good to go. He's been at training camp. Now we got Brandon Stevens, who's a little bit banged up, missed a few practices lately, but hopefully he's a guy that could come in and contribute, whether it's in the slot or moving around at safety. Hopefully he could contribute. For me, the main concern with the secondary would be that third CB role. Kyle Fuller, we know he's a vet. He's a guy who had high pedigree coming in, former first rounder, but he's had his struggles. At other spots, training camp, it hasn't been so glowing, and we got other guys behind him, whether that's Brandon Stevens, who's unproven, or Darius Washington, who hasn't even seen the field yet, who people would hope he would be the slot corner. And then you got the young guys. You got Pepe Williams, and then you got Jalen Armour Davis, 2 rookies coming in. So I like the players that are there, but there's guys that have to prove themselves on the field, so we can see exactly what they have. So that gives me a little bit of pause. And then with the safeties, it finally feels good to have a free center field throwing to safety. It feels good. It feels like a long time since we've been able to say that. So this is probably as good as they've been in years at safety. So safety spot is A-okay with me.
All right. Jordan Yates, appreciate you for correcting me. It's Josh Ross, not John Ross. John Ross, the Bengals receiver. Appreciate you correcting me on that. Hendo, go ahead with the DBs.
As far as expectations, I really expect, with all the hype, for them actually to be the best pass defense in the league. Now, once again, as years pass, we have an issue with injuries. We don't know where Marcus Peters is. A couple of guys are banged up. I'm not sure. They said Marlon's fully healthy. I hope he can stay that way. But I have a little pause because of the pass rush, which we'll probably get into later. But I truly expect for us to take over. Safeties, I have no issues with. I'm glad that we got Marcus Williams, because we got beat over the top a little bit too much in years past, trying to play 2 strong safeties. But my expectations are extremely high for this unit.
Mike?
Yeah, I feel the same way, man. I am excited because I feel like we have a lot of interchangeable parts on this in the secondary right now. So, the young guys, the rookies that's in there, we got some guys, some holdovers, Washington and those guys and Stevens, who I think was coming into his own towards the end of the last season. I'm excited to see what he could do. But I just feel like, man, you got a lot of plug and play guys who could play a couple different positions out there, which is always a good thing. So I am expecting a lot out of this unit. I think Peters will be fine. I think they just slow walking them, which they should do. There's no need to rush them back. Marlon looking pretty good from the tape and film that I've seen so far, so that's a good sign. So yeah, I think that this will be. I'm going to go out there and say this will, if they stay healthy, this will probably be the best unit in the league.
Gotcha. Jose?
Yeah, I think I agree with everybody here. I feel good about the secondary. I have high expectations, and I do expect them to be one of the best, if not the best, secondaries or pass defenses, in fact, in the league. The pass rush doesn't concern me as much, and I'm sure we'll get into that, like Hendo said. I think everything's going to hold up. I'm not worried about injuries either. Like, yes, the Ravens have a history of these injuries. Like, you get these ratchet injuries like in bunches, but it doesn't usually happen back-to-back seasons. So
Mhm.
this season, and I think they're fully aware of it. They're trying to be real careful how they handle everything. Everybody's going to be healthy, even the ones that are coming back from injury. They'll slow roll them out there, but
Mhm.
they'll get up to speed. And I think mid-season, towards the end of the season, they're going to really sink in. And I like both safeties. I think we have two guys that can make plays back there. Um, I think the communication should be better, because that's one of the issues I think we had in the past is just
Yep.
communication, who's supposed to be where. But better talent, I think higher IQ out there. They're not going to be too many misassignments. So yeah, I feel real good about the overall pass defense.
So I got 2 questions before we move on to LBs. The third corner. So we're gonna go up. It's Marlon and MP is our 1-2.
Mhm.
However you want to say they're 1-2, they're 1-2. That
Right.
third corner, if Fuller cannot do it, who do you guys think will take that spot out of all those guys Chris named?
Well, correct me if I'm wrong. Did Brandon Stevens play a little bit a corner last year when everybody went down? I thought he did.
After the whoever was the last corner that got hurt, maybe
Yeah.
that when Marlon tore his pick, I think Brandon went and played some corner that game. Maybe
Yeah, he
somebody
played
else went
outside.
down later in the year. And he
And
went and
he
played.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah, he played the outside. He lined up on Claypool on the outside
Okay.
in that Steelers game, and he had
Mhm.
some reps on the inside too at nickel.
Okay. I'll probably lean towards him. One, because they drafted him high, fairly high, 3rd-round pick, and he had to get thrown in there probably maybe a little bit earlier than they wanted him to. But experience matters with this coaching staff. They're going to go with the guy that has a little bit more experience, as long as he's performing well in camp. So the camp's going to say a lot, but
Yes.
right now I would say Brandon Stevens as that third.
Okay. And the other question was, since we got this shiny new car in the defensive backfield, this 6'4", 6'5", Ferrari, or Hemi. How do you think they should use that guy? Because this week for the open practice, he was in playing press man and 1-on-1s, and somebody cooked him up, and there was all these jokes about it. How do I personally don't think that's how he should be used, but how do you guys feel about that? How should they use Kyle Hamilton? Anybody? Go ahead, Hendo.
I'm a pass on this one. Mike got this one.
No, I mean, so I envision him playing some type of a hybrid role, right? What that will look like exactly, I'm not sure. He kind of scared me a little bit from the open practice, and what kind of happened there. But those are the times that you get those out, right? Like you learn from that. That's a time where okay, he sees something, it happened, and now he can learn from it. And so I think I would like to see him playing hybrid, some type of aggressive. And it depends on how how aggressive McDonald will be, right? That's kind of, we've got to see that. I guess he was fairly aggressive at Michigan, but I just think that to have him in some type of roaming position and letting him kind of be out there freelancing and kind of, trying to kind of take some of the coverage assignments away from him as much as you can, right? Like you don't want to put him, you got him in the slot. You don't want him playing against no little dude, right? Even though,
and I think
how about as a rover?
any twitchy receiver, and it don't have to be a good twitchy receiver, is gonna give him problems because he not twitchy.
He's not twitchy. And
he's tall and lanky.
Yeah. So like you don't want him to get caught up in that. But like you said, Hendo, like some type of like a rover type.
Put him on tight ends. Put him on tight ends. Have play a little linebacker.
Yeah.
And that's I envision him taking some of those spots away from Chuck.
Yes.
Some of those hybrid spots from Chuck, because I think he can do everything Chuck can do, but probably tackle better. And not saying Chuck doesn't like to tackle, because Chuck just light. So when some of those backs come through, that Chuck is in the right position. He just light and they kind of plow through him, and he may make the tackle, but they fall forward for 5, 6, 7 more yards.
I think that's going to happen a little bit in the beginning for Kyle Hamilton too. Like I think there'll be an adjustment period for him. So I mean,
I do like him blitzing though.
Yeah,
I like him blitzing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think he'll be okay. I'm fine with him not starting off the bat. I don't know how. I think y'all was talking about that the other day. I'm fine with him not starting off the bat to being a sub package guy. And
Mhm.
you know, if he excels in those sub packages, then you know, roll him out there and let's go with it. Because I think you got enough depth at safety. Because you still got Tony in the holster, the
Mhm.
last bullet in the clip. Because I think Tony gonna make the team. I don't know why.
Oh yeah,
I just
he's
I
playing.
just
He's playing a lot better than he has.
mhm. I
He's
just think
healthy.
he and then he's a glue guy.
Right.
Mhm.
He's a glue guy. He'll be a Ravens guy
Hmm.
to that the people that they love like that. So let's bounce down to LBs. We can put inside linebackers and outside linebackers together. Go ahead, Hendo. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go
Let's
ahead.
talk about it, Hendo.
Mm-mm. You're not
That's
gonna
what
bait.
that's
You're
what
not
they're
gonna
here
bait.
for.
You're not gonna bait me with this one.
No,
Uh,
that's what you're here for. Give me,
so, so okay. So it's for me, linebackers. That would be the least talented spot for me on this team. Um,
are you are,
Harrison,
are you putting
I'm putting them all.
outside linebackers too, or just inside? Which I'm
eh,
just trying to get clarity. That's all.
I guess inside linebackers,
So you
but
meaning the Queen, the Harrison, the
yeah.
what's the dude
Welsh,
with Welsh, the Bynes, that
Bonds.
group.
So Bond. Listen, I'm slightly impressed with Bonds because he was on the 2012 Super Bowl team, and he's playing up to the best of his talent. He's
Mhm.
a little bit older, he's a little bit stiffer, but he's giving it his all. He's in the right position to make plays, but physically he just doesn't have it. So I give him all the credit for that. Harrison, I was extremely high on Harrison. I thought that he was going to come in, be the thumper. He showed last training camp that he had some coverage ability. So I thought that he was going to be better than he was. Now, if anybody who knows me knows when it comes to Patrick Queen, I felt like he was not worthy of a first round draft position, and he's played like it. Everybody's excuse is, well, he's playing better. Put somebody in front of him or around him to make him better. No, how about you just play better? Because we could have used that first round pick elsewhere. Now, I give it to him. He's still young. He only started 1 year college,
Not even a
and
whole year.
and he didn't start the whole year because he got in
Mhm.
because of injury. So I'll give him time to kind of get things. And like I said before in the other stream, he's there physically. He has it. He diagnoses plays. He's there. It's just tackling and staying engaged in the game. In coverage is where I think he lacks. So inside linebacker, that for me is a problem and an issue that I think might come to haunt us in the
Mhm.
playoffs.
I agree with you. And I'm a Queen stan. I like Queen. I feel like he's improved, but I'm also at the point where, and somebody said it. I don't know if it's one of you guys, but this year he's either going to play up to our expectations,
Or
and we can
prices,
afford him.
prices are
Yep,
right.
that was you said that maybe, or he's gonna be a bust, and then we're gonna be looking for two linebackers. Because I think if Malik don't get it together,
He's
he might get the boot
Yeah.
too.
yeah.
Might go ahead with the linebackers.
So I agree with my guy Hendo. This is especially on the inside, right? This is the position. I'll say this: it's not the. It's probably the least sexiest position, right? We don't have that name outside of PQ, right? But um, you know, a lot of us feel a certain way about PQ. I personally like him. I think that he is going to be what he is, right? I think he came into this city with the expectations to replacing the greatest linebacker of all time, right?
Right.
And that is that's a lot to put on a young guy's shoulder. So when you don't see that, it's oh man, he a bust, he a bust, he a bust. Of course, he's a young guy, so he has growing pains. He got some things he got to work on, right? And I think he realizes that. But as an athlete, he's top notch athlete at that position. So I like
100%.
that. But next to him is where I'm scared, right? I'm not, I don't think Malik has it. Um, like you said, Bynes is giving everything he can, but he just, you're just gonna get what you can out of Bynes, right? Um, I was hoping that we upgraded that position in one way or another, and it doesn't seem like we went there. We tried, we tried to get Bobby Wagner in town. It just didn't work out.
Did we, Mike?
Well, that's what they say.
We try a lot to get a lot of people, and it never works out.
That's the word,
I
right?
honestly think Bobby used us.
I think he did too.
He did.
I think Bobby used us to up his little change.
Yeah.
Jose, go ahead.
If we had signed Bobby Wagner, do you think we still have Patrick Queen, or do you think we trade him?
No, I think we still have him. He plays the mic.
I think
Patrick
we would have shipped them out.
Mhm.
I think we'd have shipped them out because you know why? Because look, he's a first round pick. This is his third year, right?
Mhm.
We're going into his third year. If he starts to play well, they're not going to want to pay him. It's the same thing with CJ Mosley, right? They're not going to want to pay him.
Let's ship him out next year because we got the 5th year for him.
That he's not getting a 5th year.
Yeah, he get a 5th year.
They're not picking up that option.
Look, these players are smart now. They're not going to let you do that. They're going to be like, "No, I'm not playing. You're going to extend me right now." Right?
Well,
He gonna pull a Kyler Murray. Right? I'm not going out there. I'm not going out there till you give me my money. All right.
So correct me if I'm wrong. This is his 3rd year.
Third
right?
year.
So this is really this is technically his contract year. Technically.
Yeah.
Because he won't have the power to do what you said unless he balls out this year.
Right.
And and at this point he's got to try to make it in that peanut role, right? Peanut Owasu, right? Because they moved him. And they're drafting him to replace CJ Mosley, which they didn't want to pay, which I would have paid him, but whatever. But I mean, look, I didn't like the pick just for that reason, because we already showed that we don't value middle linebackers in general, right? But yeah, I figured there'd be a little learning curve with him for the things that you said, right? He's still kind of raw. So I don't have a problem with him. I think he's going to have a good year. Malik Harrison was the one that gave me that I had a real problem with, because I think he's good. I think he come in, if he gets the opportunity to play, he could show you something. But I knew when we drafted him that he was never going to get that opportunity. He was never going to beat out LJ Fort, because what this coaching staff loves more than anything are veterans that already know what they're doing. They know their assignments. They don't miss assignments. They don't make mistakes. And LJ Fort made very little mistakes. So he wasn't going to let Malik Harrison beat him out. And that's what happened. And of course, he had the unfortunate incident where he got shot last year, which also, that didn't help. But now I think the path is clear for him to get a real opportunity. And if he gets out there, I think he can really show you something.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, like, PQ, his main issue is just, it's like a roller coaster with him. Like, he'll look great one game, and we're like, damn, PQ, baby, PQ season. And then 2 games later, he's over there just sliding off of running backs, not being able to tackle, just looking lost. And it's like, damn, we got to get that consistency. Hopefully in year 3, we see more of that. It'll be an adjustment period with the new DC, but this guy was their coach. He was their linebackers coach.
Yep.
And he knows them as well as a new DC can know these players.
Yeah.
Because he's been intimate with them in the same rooms, been running their meetings. He's been on them. So these guys, it's time for them to put up or shut up, like you guys were saying, because this is year 3 now. You guys are not young pups anymore. You guys got a little bit of gameplay on you. Malik Harrison, unfortunately, there's been more downs than there have been highs. I'm really disappointed with Malik Harrison. Unfortunately, he was shot. He got shot last year, but what gave me a little bit of hope with him was that Titans game in the playoffs. That was his best game as a Raven. And that's the Malik Harrison we saw at Ohio State. He was thumping. He was, leaving his mark. Him and McPhee, they were about to catch charges that game because they were so violent.
He tackled Henry with one arm.
Yes.
They did.
Yes.
They
And
did.
that's the kind of intensity, that's the kind of gameplay, that's the way we need to be using him. But he also has to do his part too, because we don't get to see what happens, in the classroom. We don't get to see what happens on the practice field. So he got to do his part too, because we could say, oh yeah, this guy got all the potential in the world, but he got to raise up to it as well. And another thing, I think you guys mentioned it earlier with the safeties. I think we could see Tony Jefferson get some backer looks too. Yeah. We saw him in that Rams game. We saw him in that Rams game where he was all over the field. He knew where he had to be. He knew where to read his,
especially around the goal line. He made a big stop. I don't remember who it was on, but he made a big stop right around
I know
inside
exactly
the
what you're
10-yard
talking
line.
about. Yep, where he was like a cat, where he was like on the floor, and he somehow bounced back up and make the tackle. I know exactly what play you're talking about. So I think we could see him in kind of in that linebacker role, similar to the way they had Levine a few years ago, where I think it was like the 2016 season or something like that, 2017, where they used a lot of dime. I think we could see Tony Jefferson get some looks there too.
We've flirted a few times with that role, but we never really committed to it. You know what I mean? Like that tweener role. I always thought that helped a lot with this team, but we never really committed to it.
I think they did it, but they did it with Chuck.
And
he's less of an athlete than some of those other guys. But since he's, I'm gonna use Hendo's words, since he's smart, they kept him on the field, which kind of leads me into my next question. He is obviously one, and I'm talking about Chuck. He's obviously one of the lesser athletic guys out there as far as making plays and whatnot, and excluding that Rams game. He has the green dot, which means he has to be on the field for every snap, correct? Who needs to take that? Because we don't have, and the reason I say that because we don't have the greatest faith in PQ. Malik's wishy-washy. Bynes got his faults. The only person I see that can stay on the field the entire time,
Marcus Williams,
Marlon and Williams, and Marcus and Williams. So do one of them eventually take that spot, or do they just they be loyal to Chuck and leave it with him so he has to stay on the field the whole time, even though he would be not the worst guy out there, but he wouldn't fit in certain packages.
How common is it to give a cornerback the green dot? You know what I mean?
It's not very common.
Yeah,
I don't think it's very common.
I would say
do anybody have it outside of a middle linebacker? Does any? Because I don't know. Does any player outside of Mike linebacker have it other than us?
That's a good like that's who it usually is. I mean, the only other
so what we give it to Bynes?
They kept Bynes in on passing downs last year.
I'll say it might have to be Josh Bynes, man. I don't know. Like Marcus Williams would probably be my answer, but if we're talking about linebacker, I mean Bynes is going to get a lot of work, so it might be him. I don't know.
This is my spiel on PQ. Like Hendo said earlier, he didn't start as his last year at LSU. He took over for, I forget the kid name, but he plays with Cleveland now. And he took, when he got the job, he didn't give it up. He balled out at LSU, and they had a great team. They had a bunch of people around him, so maybe that kind of camouflaged him or whatnot.
No coach. The same issues. I can't remember the video, but a gentleman came out before the draft with a video of Patrick Queen, and the same issues that we're having with him now, the guy highlighted it and was like, look, he's not a first round pick. His tackling angles, his issues in coverage, he highlighted it for like an hour. So it wasn't mass, but because he was on a winner and we needed someone to replace CJ, we figured he was one of the best options. It was between him, the guy from San Diego. San Diego, well now Los Angeles, and the dude from Seattle, and I guess he was the best fit for it, so they chose him.
What I was gonna say was he, like I said, he didn't start, was learning the position because if I'm not mistaken, the year before he played outside linebacker, but not in the middle. He played outside linebacker because they had Jacobs as the Mike, but I would have to go back and look that up. So his first year, hit or miss, roller coaster, like Chris said, up and down. Second year, they kind of move him over and he plays better when he gets in a different position. Still not first round expected. This year, I think all the excuses that I've made for him, that I've like the leeway I've given him, he don't have that to me anymore. He has to. I think his biggest asset is also his biggest problem, how fast he is.
Yeah,
I think when he runs stuff down from the backside or from a hole behind and shows that speed, which is great, but also sometimes he runs into the line too fast and gets in the wash, or he overruns stuff and guys cut back on him. So I think his biggest asset is his biggest mistake or whatever the word I'm looking for. Detriment, yes, because he even on those tackles, he running so fast he don't square up.
Yeah,
He don't square. He going at full speed. He don't break down. He don't near leg, near shoulder that thing, and then somebody just hit him with an Obi Wop, and he gone. Or he just they have a big collision, and whoever has the better base fall, keeps going, and he fall off. So it's to me that's his biggest. His speed is his greatest weapon and his worst weapon at the same time.
Yeah, I agree. I think what PQ shows. He shows first round flashes, right?
Yes.
He got first round pick flashes. Like you'll look and you'll be like, damn, like, all right, he got it. But then, like you said, he go his stretches, right? He'll go.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of started the season kind of wishy washy. Then when they switched him, I mean, he balled out for 3-4 games, and you're like, okay, all right, this is it. And then he fell right back off. So.
Yeah.
He like my man said, he got to get it. He got to get that consistency down pat.
Mm-hmm.
And if he does that, I think we'll see. I think we'll see a different player. Now, it leads to the other thing is like, will he end up pricing himself out of here? And that it may lead to that. But I think I'm not ready to give up on him yet. But I do agree that this is the year. Like no more excuses now. Like you gotta play now. This is it.
Yep. Any more comments about inside linebacker for move on the outside?
Yeah, real quick. I think the additions to the defensive line should help those guys out tremendously now. Because before we've had a weaker defensive line. I don't want to get too much into the D line because I know they're coming up, but those guys up front should be able to help these young dudes and even Josh Bynes out, being able to just keep them clean and being able to diagnose plays a little bit better than having an offensive lineman in their lap.
I agree with that 100%. And I always go back when anybody mentioned Ray to me, and this is no knock to Ray, so don't think I'm a Ray hater. But when Ray was like doing the things he did, he had either Goose or Nada in front of him to give him an extra to diagnose and go. And
he told the front office.
He told them I need a lineman. That's why they drafted Nada. He told them like you gotta keep me clean up front.
Sam Adams, all of them.
Yep. I forgot about Big Sam. Sure did. And Sam was probably bigger than both of those guys.
He was. He was.
Sam never moved, but he never got moved.
Yeah,
facts.
Which was a plus. He never really moved, but he never got moved, which means two guys at the
two
block.
spaces. Yeah,
exactly. All right, to the outside linebackers. I'll start with those guys. To me, the main issue outside linebackers for us is depth. We don't know. Well, Ajabo is out to at least October, November, we think. Adafe always seems to be healthy coming off his arm or shoulder, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Bowser is not out there yet. I like Dalen Hayes. We got an undrafted guy from Auburn. I can't think of his name. McLean. I think it's Kobe McLean. Is that the outside linebacker, undrafted guy from Auburn? I think that's his name.
I saw his name today on a depth chart.
Who else do we have at outside linebacker? Am I missing?
We got Houston.
Justin Houston.
Justin Houston.
I forgot about Houston. And so obviously with the death of Sack Daddy, Houston can't fail right back in after that. So they probably was already thinking about bringing him back. But then when that happened, they jumped right on it and brought him on back in. So as far as what do you guys think the strengths and the weaknesses are for that group? And I'll start with you, Jose.
I mean, you touched on it. I think it's a lot of people coming off of injuries, and just not enough experience, right? Dalen Hayes, I feel good about Dalen Hayes too, but we haven't actually seen him out there, right? So that's one of the things. Jemiah Moon, okay,
that's him from UL. Appreciate it, Blitz.
Yeah, Tyus Bowser really came on before he got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
So when he gets back out there, I feel really good. I feel really good about our edges once they're completely healthy. So Owe and Bowser, I'm good with that, right? Justin Houston, bringing him back, I'm cool with that too. Dalen Hayes, like when they're 100%, I think I'm good with what we have. But the weakness is, are they going to be healthy enough when we need them to be healthy? That's the only question for me.
Right. For October, November, December. When winning time, when wins really matter.
Yeah, I had mentioned Ajabo because like he's a rookie, and you know I don't expect much from him this year. I wouldn't want to rush him back this year. I mean, if he plays a little bit towards the end, that's fine, but I wouldn't rush it.
Yeah,
especially if all those guys. I'm looking at this list. If all those guys are healthy, if all these guys are healthy, I wouldn't put a lot of pressure on them, and especially from what I'm seeing or what I'm hearing about what Oweh's doing to people. It's crazy, but keep in mind, Oweh's not going against Ronnie. It's going against Jawad James and Falele and Morgan. He's not. If he was doing that versus Ronnie, I'd be really excited. But he's doing that versus average tackles. So
I just saw Falele today at training camp, man. That dude is massive.
Do you see? Whew.
I walked right by that. I was like, oh my god,
huge. I had a kid that I coached a couple years ago that played with him last year, and he said he stood behind him. You can't see around him. He's just that huge.
Yeah, he'll block out the sun.
Yes, but as far as the outside linebackers, go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, my concern is, I think you touched on it, is depth in this position, right? I wouldn't be totally against another signing here, but somebody that we know is going to make an impact in situational situations, right? Not just anybody off the street. But I do agree, if they can stay healthy, I think this will be a better unit than we had last year. I think last year we started we didn't have, I think the depth last year was even worse, right? Hayes went down, so we relied on Houston to be, every down, and I just don't think he's that right now anymore. And then Bowser. I mean, Bowser balled out. He balled out the last 2 years, in my opinion. Unfortunately, he got hurt, but it's just a lot of work on that body that he had to put in last year, because we didn't have anybody behind him that they could trust in already depleted and kind of underperforming unit anyway. So I do think they'll be better. I will feel much better if they can put one more signing, and put somebody else in that rotation, just in case Bowser takes couple more, once he gets there, he take a week or 2 or 3 to get himself back together. Hayes is looking good right now, but again, Raw, he didn't get much work last year, so how much can we count on him?
Right.
And then you just don't. I just don't want to put. I feel much more comfortable with Houston being in a rotational situation. I think he'll be way more effective in that situation. So one more signing for me, and I'll be good with this group.
Hendo,
I just have one question for Mike. Why can't we just let the young guys play? All they need is an opportunity.
I mean,
why we need to sign somebody?
We're not there yet, Hendo. We gotta wait for the wide receiver.
We ain't on offense yet.
Okay, so offensive outside linebackers, I feel pretty good about. Like, I think it's a strong unit, but once again, it's dependent upon health. I'm high on Dalen Hayes. I was high on him last year because he was making some noise until he got injured. My biggest issue is, are they going to play Oweh on special teams? Because I don't think that's something he need. I know they tried him out on Gunner and all of this extra stuff as a rookie, and I just thought, coming into the NFL, especially playing a 17-game schedule, they were putting a little bit too much on him, and that may be part of the reason why he got injured, because his body wasn't used to that kind of grind. But overall, I think it's a strong unit once we get healthy. I used to be kind of down on Bowser, but he showed, listen, you give me a shot, let me learn, let me sit behind these people, and he balled out, and he has outplayed his contract so far.
I think so too. He was one of the few guys that we had that could do both, rush the passer and drop in coverage. We either had attempted pass rushers, and they would just kind of stand in a spot in zone, but wasn't really effective. He was one that could get after the quarterback and could drop in coverage and actually make a play on the ball.
Indeed. Which
I think Hayes could do that. I don't know how much of a dropper or coverage guy Oweh is, but I just want to see him rush the passer. And I'm hoping the scheme fits these guys. I'm hoping.
So no more Brandon Williams trying to cover a wide receiver. We're not going to get that no more. What? Crazy.
That's
Well, y'all
another
said that
thing I
earlier.
wanna-
Communication. It was too many of
No,
us. I think we were trying to
no,
do too much.
those are actual packages where Wink would have a defensive tackle covering a wide receiver. I don't get it.
So I have a question. I know Chris gotta go.
No.
But the scheme, you brought up the scheme. Like, do you guys think we're changing the scheme, or is it gonna be the same thing? Because like we're talking about edge rushers, and I feel like edge rusher isn't a priority for the Ravens because they just want to blitz. So it doesn't matter who's out there, they're gonna blitz anyway. And I don't know, just because we got a new coach, we got Mike McDonald in there, that the scheme is going to change. I feel like it's still going to be heavy blitzing.
It's
I,
not.
I think it's going to be tweaked. I say it changed, and change is probably a bad word. I think he's going to. I hope. I hope he understands what guys are good at and put them in good situations. Not saying he want the play call on to be different, but he won't have like you said, Brandon Williams coming to linebacker. He'll let guys do what they're good at and then go from there, I think. But go ahead, Chris. At least I hope, rather.
Yeah, I think we're going to see more of the pass rushers pass rushing instead of covering. But like Coach said, we hope that's what's going to happen. We could just go by the Michigan tape, and he gave those guys free reign. You see David Ojabo, you see him game one, and you see the maturation all the way to the last game, and you could tell that Mike McDonald had confidence in him and let him make mistakes along the way, because a lot of DCs are ego driven. A lot of coaches are ego driven. Period.
Thanks.
They do it my way, or you're not going to do it at all. And you could tell, like, he let Oway be free. Like, hey, you want to try to do this fake outside spin and turn in the inside, and you get lit up in the first quarter. All right, go ahead. You can try it out again in the fourth
Penn
quarter.
State did against Penn State.
Yep, try it, and he got lit up again. He did it again in the fourth quarter, and he got a big sack. Yep. And that's having trust in your players. So hopefully that's what Mike McDonald brings. And we heard Marlowe talk about it, like the way he's teaching the defense. He's not just telling you, oh, you're the cornerback, you got to do this. He's like, you're the cornerback, you got to do this. This is what the linebacker's doing while you're doing this. So everybody's knowing everybody's job, like where everybody is. And that's, as a DC, you got to get your guys on the same page and let everybody learn the whole thing, not just what their job is, but what everybody's job is. And I feel like that's how you can improve the communication too. Wink, it was just like, yo, do your thing, you got to blitz on this play, you got to fall back on this play. And that's when you have the cross where it's like, I thought you was doing this. No, I thought you was doing that.
Right.
Yeah.
Everybody knows, like, all right, this is your job. This is my job. Let's get it. So
especially if it was any kind of motion. If somebody's motion does, our brains exploded.
But as far as outside linebackers, like everybody else said, man, health, because you got Ojabo on the men, you got Tyus on the men, and then they have Vince Beagle, who apparently was running with the ones and was doing well too. He went down today with the Achilles injury, so it's like, damn, it's starting now. Like I'm getting a little bit, PTSD from last year with this stuff.
Yeah.
So, but hey, that could open the door for a guy like Stephen Means. I seen him brought up in the chat. Stephen Means, he's a guy that has some, kicked his ties around in the league for a couple of years. So hopefully he's a guy who could bring something to the team and actually contribute while Ojabo and Bowser are coming back. But, I'm expecting big things from Oway. He's getting that second year, that sophomore look. So hopefully we see a jump in him. Justin Houston, now that signing is looking bigger than ever now with all of these guys going down. So hopefully they could get these injured guys back as soon as possible. Not rush them, but get them back as soon as possible and be able to contribute in this rotation instead of having a veteran like Justin Houston having to take so many snaps.
Right. Well, as far as this outside linebacker group, what's a reasonable expectation for sacks for the group as a whole, like number wise? As a whole, for me,
as a whole.
What did we have last year?
I was about to say, what we do last year?
I'm not sure. I'll see if I can look it up.
It wasn't that many.
I'm gonna go with 23.
No, we need more.
We need more.
I need. Oh wait, listen. Training wheels off. Like we said about
Do it, Jose.
Patrick Queen. Training wheels are off.
Do it.
Right.
Okay.
5 sacks ain't acceptable anymore. Right. That was fine for last year. I need at least 10 from Oweh. All right. I need at least 10. Bowser, because he may not be 100% start of the season. I'm not gonna say double digits for him, but I expect Bowser when he gets back in there, man. I expect him to ball out. A combination of Bowser, Houston, Dalen Hayes. Man, yeah. They gotta get you. I say about 18 from the three of them. So I'm saying about 28 to 30 sacks.
Yeah, I might have to change that because you know what? Justin Houston last year, he cost himself about 5 sacks with penalties and letting people go.
Penalties. Yeah.
He just
3. Okay, 3.
Oh, 3. Yeah, he cost himself some sacks. So, okay.
34. Craig says 34. I might have missed one.
What was his total
33
sacks?
or 34? Who?
Justin Houston. We
Houston?
We had an ongoing bet with one of our fans. Shout out to Living Legend.
Was it 6?
I think
6 and a half?
I thought it was 7.
I could find it. I think it's 7 because I think he had the most.
I don't think it was 7.
Oh no,
it was 4.5.
It's 4, yeah.
Gave him 7
because 2 of those were penalties, and I credited him with 2 because I was trying to get Living Legend his T-shirt.
2 were penalties.
He still fell short.
3 of them.
Bowser had 7.
7. Okay, for Bowser. Yeah. Bowser, I think he's a double digit. Sack guy.
If healthy.
Yeah, if he could play a whole season. Yeah.
I think Oweh has to get close to 10. 9 minimum. But anything above that, I think he has. And I'm hoping somebody on the other side can match that number. And then you have your spot, your 2 or 3 from different guys here and there. But I think we need 2 guys approaching double digits to help them back end guys out. And then we can finish with the hog maulers up front, defensive line. This is what I envision for the defensive line. I expect Calais and Pierce to be our 1-2 first down guys to start the series and whatnot. Then I expect to see a heavy dose for the next 4 to 8 plays of Travis and Matabike. I don't know how much Irvin's going to play, if he's going to make the team, but I really like those 4 in a rotational role and don't wear Calais out. You need Calais October, November, December, January football. He played way too many snaps for my like the Colts game when he was Superman. That man played too many snaps that game.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as I like the group. I don't know who the 5th guy would fit in, if we even have a 5th guy, but I really like I'm in love with Travis Jones. You know, he was my favorite pick of the draft. And I think you guys were saying he was there in the 3rd round for a reason, but I really like the dude.
Not me. I like him.
I said
that was Hendo.
That was me.
I'm a Travis Jones guy myself. I think this kid got it. I haven't been as excited about this front in a long time, and I agree with you. I think we got to find a way to get Calais off the field more. I think that was a problem for us in a couple spots last year, right? We had to force a lot of people to play more snaps than we really, really wanted them to. And I think right now, as it stands right now, knock on wood, with everybody healthy for the most part, it's looking like we're going to get past that, right? We won't have to do that. I think Jones is going to ball out, and I think being able to rotate those 4 that you named, Coach, I think could be a problem. I think Matabike is his time. It's time for him too, right? Like we talking about PQ. It's time for Matabike. Yeah, it's time to go. Like everybody gotta step up. And I think the young boy Travis Jones is just that one that might put that flame under these other cats to, hey man, let's go. Especially somebody like Matabike. So I'm excited about this front.
Since you mentioned Matabike, I did a video about him, and the more snaps he played, the better he played. Mm-hmm. So I don't, I ain't the smartest guy in the, but opportunity. the numbers prove it. The numbers prove it. The more snaps he got in the game, the more he produced. Yep. And in NFL, you could probably say, well, maybe he did that versus the Lions. I don't remember what the team was, but it's the NFL. They all get paid, so you can't go like when contract time comes. They're gonna look at numbers. So you got to look at his numbers then. But I just feel like he should play more. But go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, man. The thing that gets me excited about this group is the athleticism that's on it now. We had just moved on from Brandon Williams. Short, little, stout dude. He's the typical Ravens nose guard. That little fire hydrant build dude that's just going to be there, not really move laterally, not be able to really have that athleticism or length. But now with Travis Jones and Michael Pierce, you got some athletes there. You got some guys who are 330 plus who can move and who have some length and have athleticism. And I think that's so important in today's NFL to be able to create that kind of interior pressure, be able to move laterally. We didn't have that before, and now you got guys who can do that. You got a Lbht who can move. You got a Broderick Washington who's not a stiff dude. He could play the 3 tech. He could even bump inside if you want him to in a pinch. Right. So you got guys like that. And I think Brent Urban, too, I think he's going to be a valuable piece. Like, not one of them guys that's going to have, like, 6 sacks, but I think he's a dude that can come in and give you valuable stretches where, he could give a Calais a breather. He'll be able to take some good, decent snaps where the person that's taking over for Calais isn't a liability. So I think that defensive line, I think, is probably one of the strongest and deepest that the Ravens have had. And they don't have, the superstar Chris Jones on that list. Calais was once up there, but, we know he's old. But they don't have a superstar guy. But this is a really, really solid group from top to bottom, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Hendo?
I'm just going to say I hope that Jones is all we hoping more. I hope they start him. I hope he and Lbht start, because I was against the signing of Calais Campbell, honestly.
Originally?
Yeah,
like from the jump?
No. This year.
The re-signing.
I'm sorry, the re-signing, because let's see. The last 2 years, 4 sacks. He's been getting hurt. I think we could have allocated that money into another position or somewhere else. He can still play, and in spots, I don't think for the money it was kind of right. But I think the other 2 should start. They should bring him, Michael Pierce, in off the bench later in the season, kind of save them for the playoffs. Jose, I don't know if you saw Michael Pierce, but when I saw him, he looked a little wide. He looked a little.
He's always been that way. He was that way when
he was that big.
Playing for us. Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, didn't Pierce take the COVID year off?
He did.
Yeah.
And so this will be his second year back, correct?
Yes.
He did last 1 year in Minnesota. Then we re-signed him.
He was hurt. Yeah, he was hurt.
He played last year. He got hurt.
He really hadn't played since he left here then.
But he got hurt last year too. So,
but he had 3 sacks in 8 games. I mean, look, Pierce can get after it. All right, like, I mean, I expect him.
He's still on. I think he's 29.
29.
Right. So
yeah. Somebody said Travis Jones 5 sacks. I can see 5, 6 sacks for Michael Pierce.
I hope so, but in a rotational role.
Mm-hmm. I think for Pierce and for Pierce and Jones and Lbht, the big thing for them is going to be TFLs. Maybe not necessarily sacks.
Yeah.
But TFLs to get guys in passing situations, and then them edge guys maybe get them sacks. I'm hoping that's the perfect situation. But go ahead, Chris. Wait a minute, were you finishing though?
Yeah, I'm good.
Who I missed? I missed my rotation.
Mikey. I jumped off first.
Hey, everybody spoke. Everybody talked. Everybody. We got everybody.
Right. So, overall defensive expectations. I expect us to definitely be a top 10 defense if everybody stays healthy.
Right.
No matter how bad or good McDonald is, we got enough veterans and MP when they come back, and Marlowe and Calais to make whatever's called work. Now, if we had a bunch of young guys, I would say the coach could be like a huge hindrance to them. But we got a bunch of veterans, and we got enough young guys to lead the veterans. So we definitely should be top 10, defense at minimum. And if Mike comes in and hits it and gels with the guys and kind of understands what the whole does good and kind of stay away from what we're not good at, I think top 5 ain't no stretch because we got pieces. Health being the only issue. What about you guys as far as overall defense?
Top 5 is my expectations. We invested too much in this defense. Picks, money, what have you. Like top 5 is the expectation if everybody's healthy. Top 10 is acceptable. Anything outside of top 10 is completely unacceptable. Unacceptable to me.
I agree.
So
I agree. Anybody else want to elaborate?
I expect top 5 defense. Anything else to me would be a disappointment. But more important to me is how Mike McDonald does situational football.
Yes.
Because we seem to struggle with situational football and in-game adjustments. In-game adjustments has killed the Ravens for 12 years now on offense and defense. How he kind of handles those situations is going to tell more to me rather than a defensive ranking. I want to be
That's a great point.
I want to be top 5 in total defense, top 5 in scoring defense. Because you can give up all the yards in the world, but if you're not letting them score and turnovers
I was baiting. You caught me. I was baiting everybody on that one. You caught me. You got me.
Yeah, I think Hendo. I think you hit it on the head right there. You can have. I'm gonna say top 10, right? But I want to be in the top 5 scoring defenses. I'm talking about on both sides of the ball, right? We lacked that last year. We didn't have those. We didn't have those big plays. We didn't have those turnovers, those pick six, those forced fumbles right in the money areas. We ain't had that. So we need a little bit more of that, and I want to see them ranked higher in that. But I want to touch on something that Chris said earlier, which I think will say a lot with this defense if it's actually going on that way. Which he said McDonald was actually teaching these guys, right? Everybody knows everybody's position, right? And that made me think of, now, don't take this the wrong way, but it made me think of the 2000 defense, right?
Okay.
Not saying they're going to be this good.
Okay.
But everybody on that field knew everyone's position, right?
yeah.
So, and everybody knew what they were supposed to be doing, so you didn't have those communication issues at all. And I think that was a huge, huge problem for us. So, I mean, the rankings, listen, as long as we not giving up 40 point, like we did a couple times, I'll take a top 10 defense, but give me top 5 scoring defense, and I'll be good.
Yeah.
When he said that earlier, I thought about something, but I forgot about it. And when you brought it up again, it came to my head. When everybody knows what everybody's supposed to do, you can hold everybody accountable now. The D line can hold the secondary accountable, vice versa. Accountability will go around the whole defense and not just, okay, I'm supposed to blitz this play. I don't know what you got on the other side.
Right.
So
and that's what made
make a finger point then.
Yeah.
And that's what made Ray Lewis great, because he knew everybody's assignments. So he could just look at everybody and be like, look, you out of place. Yep. You need to travel with the guy in motion. Like, he could direct people. And with our defense and nobody knowing where anybody's supposed to be, they just look around and be like, okay, we playing cat defense. I got that cat, you got that cat, and we're gonna go from, you're gonna go from there.
I agree with you 100%.
Now, is there anybody on the defense, like you speaking of Ray Lewis? Like Ray Lewis, he knew that, but also he knew that other offense too, right?
He did.
Yeah.
You know what used to always stick out to me, when he would tell people on the line, like, "Hey, this is gonna be a hard count. Don't jump."
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He'll tell he'll tell somebody, line up over here, line up in this gap right here, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like he knew what was coming because he see it so much. Is there anybody on this team that can get to that level?
MP's there. And look when MP was on the sideline. Remember when MP was on the sideline for the Rams game?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He was in street clothes coaching these dudes up.
That's true. That's true.
And how many people have we heard say, like, yo, that's the smartest dude I've ever played with. He just sees the game a different way. Yeah, he sees it a different way. And that's why I think he's obviously on the field he's important, but just the intelligence that he brings too, that's just another level right there. That's like every type levels of intelligence.
I remember him. I don't remember what game it was, but somebody lined up, and he started going in motion before the receiver did. And so he basically beat the receiver to the other side of the field, and then pointed back in and told him what play was going to be running. And we got like a TFL or something. So that just gives you his high level of football IQ, and that comes with studying film and having a general IQ of what's going on.
Yes, sir.
All right, and we want to put the defense to bed.
Yes,
All
sir.
right, let's
Yeah.
move to the juicy side.
Oh,
Move to the
Here we
juicy
go.
side.
Let's
Here we go. Here we
Offensive
go.
expectations. So we gonna save receivers for last. We're gonna save
Okay.
receivers for last. Let's start with we'll start with Lamar. Let's start with the quarterback. Obviously, Lamar's our guy. Huntley is the number 2, and then there's a battle between the kid from Oregon and Hudley. I think that's his name.
Brent Huntley
Brent
from
Huntley.
UCLA.
who's like was out of football for a while.
Yep.
Was Aaron Rodgers back up for a minute? Then they drafted Jordan Love, then he was out of football, and then he came back for like 3 games somewhere, and then was out of
The
football
Cleveland.
again. So I don't really know what's his situation, but
Huntley
I don't know.
Huntley was another Deshaun Kaiser. They were like the same. They were like the
Yeah.
same quarterback.
Yeah.
That was his deal. You know, the Ravens give people shots. I give it to him. But as far as Lamar goes, he is the franchise.
Yep.
I expect an MVP type season from him.
Yep.
Yeah.
I hope that
I think he was headed that way too last year.
He was. He was. I mean, he was. What was he? Top 10 in passing and rushing again.
Mhm.
I mean, Lamar is great, but Lamar could be greater with more support, in my opinion. So MVP season, take the division, win the Super Bowl MVP. Bada boom, bada bing.
Mike?
Yeah, you look, eight that guy, right?
Yep.
He's that guy, and I hope that he's taking all of this talk, and I hope he tucking it away, and I hope he come out and he just take this league by storm. Like we seen it before, we know what he can do. You know what I mean? And I'm expecting big things, MVP type season. Everything. Listen, that man's on TV every day. They talking about him on all the outlets every day. It's like, I mean, he can't do. He was too slight last year. Oh, now he put on weight. Now he put on too much weight. Right? No, it's just like it's everything he does. So I think he's that type of kid that'll take this type of stuff and he just, he gets better. And I love that about him. I'm happy with the quarterback I got. I wouldn't trade him for nobody. So 8 is good. My question to y'all real quick though is, I got 2 things to say. One, are we keeping more than 2 quarterbacks? And the next one is, we got to be the only all-black quarterback room in the league. we got all black quarterbacks.
Don't we?
I didn't think about that.
I didn't think about that either.
Haven't they done that a few times though? They did that with
RG3
and what's Marshawn Lynch's cousin, the dude that's been on like every team in the NFL.
Josh
Johnson.
Johnson. There we go. Yeah.
Sure did last year. Yep.
Yeah.
They do that a lot. Ozzy gonna give his guys a shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we were like that last year with Johnson, Snoop, and Lamar.
Yeah.
But Johnson didn't come until Lamar got hurt, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm. Off the street.
Or did Johnson not come until the game Snoop got hurt? I think Johnson started and was on the team for 1 week.
I tried to erase as much as last season as I can from my brain.
Right.
So I don't even know.
Johnson, did he start one game? Did he start?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
He got
He had almost 300 yards passing.
That was Rashad Bateman's first touchdown.
Yep.
Was that the Bengals? The Bengals
Yeah.
game?
His Bengals game.
Yep. That second Bengals game, I think.
Yeah.
All right, so quarterback was good with that. Let's go to running back. Got 2 guys coming off. Well, technically we got 3 guys coming off season-ending injuries. Brought in drafted Tyler Beatty, however you say his name, from Missouri. Brought in Mike Davis from
Carolina,
the Falcons. Still kept Nate McCrary and got a number 31. I can't remember his name.
We got
Clemens. So those are the guys that are there. In the preseason, we're probably going to see Beatty, Davis, Clemens, McCrary. I hope we don't see the other 2 guys. And Hill. It's crazy because they all 3 had season-ending injuries, but Hill practicing.
I saw him today.
That's because Hill has less wear and tear on his body.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Hill needs a contract too, because I honestly think Hill's auditioning for other teams right now.
He is. He's gone.
Yeah.
Because there's.
I don't think he's gone, man.
I know you. That's your guy, though.
But look.
Why don't you think he's gone?
Special teams?
Yes, special teams. What does
teams.
John Harbaugh love? Special teams, and
He
he
does.
plays it well.
He does.
So he's going to keep him on the team because of that.
Do you think we
Like
keep
everything.
5 running backs?
So okay, look. Gus Edwards ain't gonna be ready for a start of the season. J.K. Dobbins probably isn't gonna be ready for a start of the season. Gus Edwards, I think, is gonna end up on the PUP list.
He's going mid-season.
J.K. Dobbins may not end up on the PUP list, but he's not gonna be ready week 1, possibly not even week 2. They're gonna want to keep those other running backs on the roster.
Okay, I agree in that situation.
Or practice.
I'm talking about when healthy. Let's say.
Oh no, they're
not healthy at the beginning of the year. Week 5, both of them come back. Week 5, J.K. and Gus are healthy.
I think.
Where is Hill then?
I think he's still on the team. I think Mike Davis gets cut, and I think I think they'll try to cut Beatty and put him on a practice squad.
I would say the opposite. I'd say they would keep Beatty and Hill goes to the practice squad. And he
got more experience. That's the other thing he likes. He likes veterans.
He does like veterans, but Beatty catches the ball out of the backfield.
Right.
We don't know what Hill does, Jose.
He can catch out the backfield.
Jose, we don't know that.
Yeah.
We don't have any video proof of this.
Hill does have.
I'm gonna pull up the tape.
It's preseason. I think Hill does have a touchdown out of the backfield from Lamar.
Clemens is not gonna make the team, especially not catching. He dropped like every they tried him out on special teams today. I felt bad. He was dropping everything. He was dropping everything.
Return the ball.
Yeah, he dropped everything.
Now Nate McCurry looks good, but he's auditioning for another team.
Yeah.
Again.
So somebody out of that top 4, and I don't think Mike can go to practice squad. He'd have to be cut.
Yeah.
So either Hill or Beatty, we see end up on the practice squad.
It's got to be Hill.
You know what? You know how they get real cute with like roster moves. I can see them trying to sneak Beatty on there just to keep Hill, just to hold on to Hill for a little bit longer. Just especially if they think somebody else is going to grab him, right?
Somebody.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah.
You know how they do. But
I should toe feeling today. You stubbed it? Oh God.
You can't have that.
You know, so I'm with Jose. I think Hill will be there. I don't necessarily agree that he should be, right? But I think he will be. I think I'm really, really looking forward to see what we got in Beatty, right? Or Batty, whatever you call it. Whatever. Beatty. Yeah. I'm looking forward to that, right? I think depending on how well he plays will be the domino effect, I think, though, right? Mm-hmm. You know, if he balls out, I think you'll be able to let somebody you'll be able to let Davis go, right? Mm-hmm. And then maybe you keep Hill, and you rock with, you know, you go with the young guys, and then hopefully one of the 2 starters or the main guys is on their way back behind that. But this position, you know, I'm a little worried, right? Because I don't think it's as bad as it was last year, right?
Not at all.
It's not patch up. I think we got some young, you know, athletic, you know, guys that can move type guys in there back there this year. But JK, and me and Jose were at that game last year when he went down. We had a front line view of it, and it was just like, we both just put our hands on our head, like, come on, man. And we watched the season kind of go downhill from that. Like, you know, we saw it right there. So that was early, you know, an off season, right? What was the last preseason game? I believe it was. But like he was out for an entire year. He's still not ready. Is concerning to me. If they make another move in that area, then that tells you we ain't seen neither one of them until about half of the year. Right. But Beatty, depending on what he do, will say whether Mike Davis going to be the lead back or not.
And I think it's all contingent on how Mike Davis does at the beginning of the year, because he's probably going to go in week 1 as a starter.
Yep.
If Dobbins isn't there, he's going to go in. Maybe Hill might back him up if he's on the roster. And depending on how they do, that determines how they kind of maneuver the roster spots. Mm-hmm. If he doesn't do well, he's gone. But if he does, you got to keep him because you never know, and we don't know. Like he said about J.K., it happened early. Well, it happened in the preseason. He's not ready, but Gus is even worse off. Like
Right.
they already said week one, Gus ain't gonna be ready,
And
and we
that's
haven't even
why
hit the
that's
preseason.
why I think Mike Davis has the upper leg on them guys because he can do the Gus runs.
Yeah.
But then he also got beat up by a wide receiver, so
Yeah,
eh,
he did. He did.
Who?
He did. But what I will say
Cordell
this
Patterson.
for
Cordell
Mike.
Patterson.
Cordell.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What I
he
will
running
say
back
this
now.
for Mike, even though he's pushing 30, he's not that old battered running back because I found out that he has 550 carries total.
Yep.
Zeke had 560 in his first 2 years.
And we see what happened there.
And so Zeke is Tony Pollard's the best back on that team. So don't think because Mike Davis has some age on him, he's this battered and bruised guy. He got maybe a good year left in him, and I would love for that good year to be with us, helping us win the Super Bowl. Chris,
I mean, he balled out with the Panthers when McCaffrey
McCaffrey.
went down. He was
mm-hmm.
balling out. I don't know what the hell happened in Atlanta, but hopefully we get that Carolina version of Mike Davis. But Justice Hill, he's a dude that was making some noise in training camp. They say he's looking good. He's looking, faster than ever. It looked like he's 100%. Tyler Beatty, Batty, whatever. He's a dude that can do some things out of the backfield too, as far as receiving is concerned. So that's going to be an interesting battle, man, because we know, like you guys all said, we know the two top dogs, they're not even going to sniff the preseason. We already know that for sure. So this is going to be a huge battle for the team, like as far as who's going to be that last guy standing. We know Mike Davis probably right him in pen as far as making the team. And then battling for that last spot, depending how healthy JK is, because JK was itching to practice, and the team had to tell him like, no, like you need to chill, like
Right.
we're not putting you down. Like JK wants to go, but the team they're not letting it happen, and I think that's a good move by them too, because they were put under the microscope last year, especially for the Ronnie situation, maybe rushing them too fast, and they probably want to avoid any of that stuff, rushing guys, having guys who want to push themselves, and just being able to just be that parent and just be like, look, all right, I know you think you're ready, but just calm down a little bit. Get
I
some
think
more rest.
Ronnie taught him a valuable lesson overall.
Oh yeah, and then hopefully they learn from it. I mean, it looks like they are. They still got to fire somebody from that strength and conditioning staff, but that's another
Yes.
episode.
Huh.
But as far as bringing those guys along slowly, it looks like they might be learning their lesson. So the preseason, I'm excited to see these dudes, man, because I want to see Beatty, I want to see Justice Hill, I want to see McCrary, I want to see these dudes get that good running, because they're gonna get a lot of carries this preseason. Because we know this team does not want to go into the season in another predicament like last year, where they got to rely on dudes off the street. I completely forgot they even had Le'Veon Bell. So they want to avoid all of that stuff and just have these in-house dudes.
Speaking of them old cats, I do want to shout out Devontae Freeman. Not just for what he said a couple weeks ago,
Right.
but for what he did last year.
Yeah.
Devontae is a shell of himself. He went out there and gave max effort.
He gave everything.
Every play. He gave everything he had. He obviously not the back he was coming out of Florida State in early his career, but what he gave us with that patchwork offensive line, and they had him doing stuff that he probably wasn't accustomed to doing, and he made the most of it. I don't think he has a job now, but I really appreciate the professionalism from what he did last year. That was to be commended, because he himself kept us in some games. We didn't win a lot of those games on the end, but his effort and his running and finding holes and hitting holes and doing his thing kept us in some of the games later on in that year when the game started to slip away from us.
100%.
Anybody else did I miss anybody on running backs? All right. Meat time. O-line and receivers. So we're gonna start with O-line. Ronnie's the key, in my opinion. Ronnie's the key. So the perfect O-line for me would be Ronnie, being Cleveland, and I'm gonna tell you why in a second. Linderbaum, Zeitler, and Morgan Moses. And the reason I said Ben Cleveland is because Linderbaum zero techniques are going to murk Linderbaum in pass pro. So he's going to need help from Cleveland or Zeitler. And I think Cleveland has the most upside in pass pro. I think Cleveland's a better pass protector than
Phillips,
Powers and Phillips. I think Powers and Phillips are probably more agile in the run game and not powerful, just agile to get to the guys that they're supposed to block. But Cleveland is a better pass blocker because he has the length to help out the center and still scan to see if, like, with stunts and all those things coming back. And he has the power. He's learned to sit his butt down when he's getting bull rushed. And he didn't get a lot of like one-on-one matchups. He had like he either helped the center or helped the tackle. So I don't know how they're going to attack him. But based off last year, he was out of those guys that played left guard. To me, he was the best pass protector. And we definitely can't have a weak pass protector at center and at one of those guard positions because then we setting ourselves up for a bad situation. But Jose, I'll start with you with the O-line.
First, I want to say, when I went to training camp today, I when we were walking to the bleachers, the O-line group walked by them. They are larger than life. All right. Saw Ben Cleveland first. I was like, man, he is huge, and it's all muscle, right? Like, like he's huge. And then Falele comes, and you gotta look up at him like this. You know what I'm saying? Like he's every bit of that 380 that they listed him as, man. He's massive. We got a huge O-line, man, and they're young, and we should be able to get a lot out of them. Like I expect, maybe they're not stout this year. I mean, they should be much more improved than last year, but we should have a stout O-line for years to come. Ben Cleveland, I don't know, man. Like he's a 3rd round pick, so there's expectations there. He's huge, and like you said, like you like his pass protection, but when they don't let him practice for 3 days because he didn't pass a conditioning test, which I think that conditioning test is ridiculous, by the way.
It is.
What are you doing? Like he's competing for a position. Like that doesn't bode well for me. I know it's the first week of practice, but like 3 days when you're in a competition. I mean, Tyree Phillips was the starter before he went down. So you're already competing with that. They're saying Ben Powers looks the best right now. Like, I mean, you're setting him up for failure by not letting him go out there and practice. But there's still a lot of training camp left, and you guys still got the preseasons left to play. So hopefully, out of those 3, it has to work out. They've invested too much at the guard position for none of these guys to step up and play well. So I don't know who it's going to be, man. I would lean towards Tyree Phillips because that's who they liked last year before he got hurt. But I would love to see Ben Cleveland step up and take that. Tyler Linderbaum, I feel good about Tyler Linderbaum. So I don't talk too much about him. Like there's never been a center drafted in the 1st round that hasn't made it to the 2nd contract. So for him, I think we're solid there. Falele, from what I understand, he's still raw, so I don't know how long it's going to take for him to get up to speed. But you should be able to do something with him. But in the meantime, Morgan Moses is a solid tackle. So the only question mark is the left tackle position. Is Ryan Stanley going to be healthy? But if everybody else holds up, we can mask that until he comes back.
Yes.
So I feel good about the O-line. Much better than last year.
And that was my only negative about Linderbaum, just being able to be bull rushed by zero technique. That's my only negative. And I think having Linderbaum in there is going to add a different element to our game. We should be able to run screens proficiently and run outside zone.
Now I don't know. You would know more about this. You're a coach. Like, is that something that can be corrected, or is that just something that he just he gonna have to
too light?
He's too light. Yeah, he's just too light right now.
Okay.
He's just too light, and he has to find some. I don't know if technique could fix. Technique probably could fix it, but like Vach says, he needs when he gets into his grown man body, which will probably be next year after he gets a full NFL offseason and he can afford a nutritionist and and all that stuff. Because in college, you're just eating what you can. Yeah. And so once he gets his grown man body, I think he'll be fine. I'm just worried about it this year.
Yeah.
And I think once he I just wish he would. I wish he didn't get hurt. But once he gets those reps against Matabike, uh, Pierce, Jones, and kind of figure out how he can maneuver his body to and not stop the bull rush, but slow it down, I think he'll be fine. Because if that's the only pass issue or thought Lamar has to worry about, there's no nose tackles that's gonna catch him.
Right.
Now there might be some edge guys that can box him in or whatnot, but if worrying about being pushed up the middle from Linderbaum is the only pass issue, I think we should still be good. You like you said, we can mask it and work around it.
Yeah.
Hendo.
My line, Stanley, player to be released during the preseason. Linderbaum, Zeitler, and Moses. And I agree with everything that y'all said, but I just think I had high hopes for Phillips, but it seems like he gets in games. Sometimes he shows you the glimpses that he can play. Not at tackle, at guard. But he just hasn't put it all together yet. Ben Cleveland, I'm not sold on him. I hope he wins the job. And Ben Powers, I just think they just put his name in there for trade purposes, like the rest of the Bens that they draft.
Bredesen,
Yeah.
all Mason,
yeah.
all of them. But I just think that they may wait to see who gets released and see if somebody else can come claim that job.
Wow.
Gotcha. Chris?
I'm gonna say mine is Ronnie, Phillips, Linderbaum, Zeitler, and Moses. I'm gonna say that's my five. Obviously the biggest question mark is Ronnie. You know, everybody. That's what we know. We all thinking the same thing. Like if he's healthy, he changes the complexity of this whole offensive line. If he's even 80% Ronnie Stanley, that's fine with me. You know, but right now that's the huge question mark. And you know, just like last year, I mean, they said all the right things last year. They're saying all the right things this year, saying he looks healthy. He looks like he's in shape. And you can watch the video. He does look like he's in shape. But, you know, we still got to see him on the field. Whether he'll get any practice time before the season starts, that's yet to be seen. But for right now, they're using Jawan James there at left tackle. Now, I got a big problem with that. Because you're making the same mistake you did last year with putting Villanueva at right tackle, where he never played right tackle. Right. Now, Jawan James has played left tackle a little bit, but for the majority of his career, he's been a right tackle.
Or bench player.
Or not even on the damn sideline player. So, and he just said a couple days ago, it's like learning how to wipe my ass with the
opposite hand. Yeah.
He did say that.
I do not want to hear that.
Right.
I don't want to hear that. Like, we just went through this last year. Now, I know it's not a popular thing, but I would like McCurry at left tackle. He's a guy who you don't have to go through those growing pains of knowing, like, oh, what do I do? What do I have to do here on the left side? He was a natural left tackle his whole life. Came into the NFL, and then he had to learn these different positions. He came in last season, played right tackle, was playing at a high level. Then he got hurt, and then he struggled a little bit. And he was at the damn Vikings game. I thought they were going to have to take him out on a damn ambulance because every time he was getting up, he looked like an old man. But I think they should just give him that shot at left tackle instead of making Jawan James move to left tackle. I mean, it's just a strange thing, and it feels like they didn't learn their lesson from last year. But I digress.
Before you go, Mike, I have a question for Jose. Did you see Ronnie today?
Do I see who?
Ronnie Stanley.
I didn't see him out there, no.
Okay.
Saw Morgan Moses. He did. I think he took a few snaps at left tackle too, Morgan Moses.
Go ahead, Mike.
So I 100% agree with Chris. I'm trying to think on. I'm trying to see the bright side of things. Like Hendo says, you always see the bright side of things. So I'm saying they got Jawan James there because Ronnie is closer to being ready than we might think he is. Because I mean, there's way too many options, right? Why not just put more? I'd rather put Morgan Mosley over there than Morgan Moses before we put Jawan James there. I mean, out of those two, at least he
Yeah.
played. He played over there before. I mean, you know what I'm saying? More recently than Jawan James has.
Yeah.
So, I listen.
Who dressed out more? Anthony Davis or Ronnie Stanley?
but that's ideally, right? We all know with Ronnie. I'm gonna say Phillips as well, but ideally it would be great if Ben Cleveland can grab a hold of that spot and lock it down. Linderbaum, Zeitler, and then Moses is the ideal line I would like to see. I'm just worried about that left side again. If he ain't ready, if Ronnie ain't ready, I if it is James, then you got to put you got to go with the most experienced, your strongest left guard you got, because you can't have two weak links on that side.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
But
So
who is that though?
Ben Powers. He's the most
He got
experienced.
the most starts. Yeah,
He's the only one that been able to stay healthy. So by default, it's him.
yeah,
That's the person I want the least the most. I want the least to get it.
Yeah,
because again, if he does win the job and he balls out, he gonna price himself out. We're not gonna pay him. This is his 4th year, right? This is his 4th year. This is his last year.
Yes, it is. Yep.
He came the same year as Hollywood. He got drafted the same year as Hollywood. So
yeah, I mean,
it can't be Ben Powers.
I'm willing to take that, man. If it's gonna protect Lamar to the best of their ability for this 1 year, and then hopefully that 1 year will give Cleveland or Phillips the chance to get better again, and then they ready to step in. But we gotta protect that Ferrari we got back there. We gotta protect, and at any means necessary. We gotta protect them, and that's whatever that's gonna take. Let's do it.
Hold up, wait a minute. Hey, Coach, can you put up Big Unc's comment?
This last one. This one.
I'm not counting on Ronnie.
Put the glasses
on. What? They gonna cut Ronnie Stanley
because he's not ready day one. If you're not ready day one, we're gonna have to get you up out of here, dog.
Like, I know I say some crazy stuff.
It's 17 games or nothing.
Right.
I didn't even see that. Ooh, that must have really that's crazy. But the thing is now, and Big Unc, he's here all the time. So in his defense, he normally has thoughtful for insight, and I think that's part of like one of the reasons I asked you, have you seen him? Because I haven't seen him in any clip. Like, is he coming to practice?
He's been out there. He's been
out
there.
He's been a couple.
I just haven't seen. Okay.
Yeah, he was like signing autographs a couple of days ago and stuff. So he was on the field. He wasn't practicing, but he was out there.
Yeah, I was saying. That's why I asked Jose, because I haven't even seen him in pictures or anything.
I didn't see him.
He was in a couple. He was at a couple practices.
Everybody's saying from the eye test he looks good. Like there's no limp, there's nothing. Like they said last year it was noticeable when he walked. He had a little bit of a limp or a little bit of a giddy up. But they saying this year none of that's there. So he's passed the eye test so far. Mike, as far as looking like he's on his way back.
Mike, did you not see him walking backwards on the beach?
I didn't.
If you walk backwards on the beach, you got to be ready.
And that's not true either. He played in the first game of the season last year.
Yeah, he played the whole game. The whole Raider game he played.
That is true.
Yep. Yeah. All right. I have one position I forgot, and which should be fairly quick. Tight end. I forgot to mention tight end. We come. It's next.
We are
tight end, and in mine tight end. We got the best tight end in the league from last year. I'm not saying total, folks. Somebody try to cut me again. We have the best tight end from 2021 on our team. And I think he's in the top 4 in that group and of the elite tight ends. He's cemented his name in that group. Absolutely. I think number 2 is my dude, Likely. I think Likely is making a case for himself to be number 2, unless it's a big blocking situation where you obviously put in Boyle. But as far as being able to be used and get some offensive production, I think Likely is carving out like a spot where Roman, you got to figure out how to, use this dude when everybody's out there. So, and then Kohler, I think Kohler and and Boyle will kind of battle for that spot. But he'll use them all in different roles. I think Pojan and Oliver, I think they get cut. I start with Chris. I start with you this time with tight ends.
Yeah, it's an exciting group. You obviously you got Mark Andrews. That I don't see happening.
Me neither.
Because Kohler, they say he might not even be ready week 1 because he got that procedure done.
Injured
The,
reserve.
yeah, the same thing that Bateman had last year.
The sports hernia.
Yeah, the sports
He
hernia.
had it. He had that in college.
Yeah, and he just getting it cleaned up now. So, but likely, this is the thing that gets me excited about likely because we see fans get excited about players. We see beat reporters say stuff about players every year. But when you hear veterans talking about a rookie and saying this dude is a baller right here, when you see Lamar talking about it, when you see Marlowe talking about it, that's what gets my antennas up with likely, because for them to be talking that highly of a rookie, that must show that he just going in there and doing his thing in practice in the classroom, and that's like the ultimate respect to have that the vets shout you out to the media. So I'm super excited about him, and with Nick Boyle, hopefully he could come back and do his thing as a blocker, um, but likely. I mean, he's the dude. He could block too. You watch his college tape. He's not just some,
Kohler's
diva.
the one that's not gonna block.
Yeah, he's not some diva that doesn't want to get touched or nothing like that. Like that dude is nasty. Like he will bury dudes into their bench and will bark on them about it too. So he's a dude that I'm super excited to see him. But what gives me pause is how will they deploy them? That's what gives me pause. Um, because you could be good, you could do all of this stuff in practice, but now it's on the coaches now to utilize them and be able to create these mismatches. And I don't know, I'm not too sure that they have the coaching staff to be able to utilize these guys and be able to create these mismatches. We've seen them do it in the run game. We've seen them be able to create these mismatches in the run game. But as far as the passing attack, that gives me a little bit of pause.
Yeah. Mike.
Yeah, listen, I said it last week. I'll eat the crow. I started this off season by saying likely ain't nothing but a Boykin 2.0. I was wrong. I was
Well,
wrong.
you ain't
Well,
wrong
I
with
don't
it.
know
It's
yet. I
just
don't
all
know it
practice.
yet.
Yeah.
But I do think that what he's showing is, yeah, he's gonna make an impact on this team, in one way or another. I think, um, I know we'll get to the wide receivers in a few, but I think that he will offset, where and if they lacking in any spot over there, because he just got that ability to play tight end, move outside a little bit. So I'm excited about him. He's probably number one on my list as far as who I'm most excited to see and see how they pan out. I think it's a good problem to have. I think Boyle. They say Boyle looking like he's back in shape. He might be healthy again. So to have a three-headed monster at tight end like that who can all be effective is, I think, a good thing for Lamar. It's a good problem to have. So I'm excited about this tight end room for sure. I think finally, we saw a little bit of it when we had Hurst and Andrews, but I think likely can be, um, even better at that spot, and having two stretch tight ends that can get open and make plays out there will be a good thing for Lamar. So I'm excited. I'm really, really excited about that.
Hendo.
So and we have Andrews. Likely, I wasn't too high on him coming out the draft. We got this running joke, Mr. 4'8", 40. I thought he was going to struggle, but I've been hearing that he's doing extremely well. He's constantly getting open. He's constantly making plays. So now my antennas are up on him, but I think he's going to do better than I expected. But I need to see him do it against somebody other than our team.
True.
Mm.
I need to see him make those plays against somebody else. I know Hamilton's been having a time with him. PQ's been having a time with him, but I need to see him in the scheme of things and how they utilize him, how they actually scheme him up. I think he'll be number 2. Yeah, he'll be number 2, and I think he may do well. So I'm excited to see what we do with the tight ends because they are going to be the focal group of this passing offense.
True. Jose?
Yeah, I saw him in practice today. Again, you take it with the grain of salt. It's just practice, right? But he looks like a smooth route runner. He did a little bit of route running work with Keith Williams. I saw him out there with the wide receivers doing a little bit of that. And then when they're doing their one-on-ones, very smooth. Like, not doesn't have the quick burst, obviously, right? But he did a good job of shielding the defender. I noticed that a lot. Like,
He does.
He may not shake the defender, but that defender isn't going to make a play on that ball. He's gonna make sure that he catches that ball every time. He caught every pass that was thrown at him in the drill. So I like him so far. Yeah, I think he's gonna get that number 2 spot. It reminds me a lot of when we drafted Hayden Hurst and Mark Andrews. Hurst, was drafted first, and he went down. And when I saw Mark Andrews get on that field, I was like, yeah, Hurst ain't getting that spot back, right? I knew we knew that we knew that immediately, right? It's kind of like that now, right? Like, Kohler, unfortunately, he had to get that sports hernia surgery, and watching Will Likely plays, it's like, yeah, man, Kohler, you ain't getting that spot, dude. You're behind, and he's looking really good. And he's never going to give that up. He's playing like, I'm not giving that back to you. So he's gonna have to get in where he fits in.
And don't forget Ed Dixon and Dennis Pitta. Same thing.
Yes.
Same thing. Yep.
First tight end always sits down. The second one always steps up.
Yeah.
With Likely, yes, he ran that 4.8, but I think he's a twitchier guy, which is why he looks good running routes. Is he gonna run past people like Waller or those other guys that can run? Like, what's the guy from Ole Miss? I think he played with Jacksonville now, the fast tight end.
Dawson Knox?
No, it might be Knox. I just know he's fast. He's not gonna run past people like that, but he has enough, side to side where he can get in and out of breaks and create separation and get the ball. But as far as and you ain't gonna catch him from behind if he get behind you.
Right, yeah.
But he ain't just gonna take a corner and just blow him, down the field.
Right.
He has enough to work intermediate stuff and get the ball, and then he has enough once he gets it, enough running back attributes to get some yards after the catch too. He ain't just a catch it and get tackle guy. He probably ain't run over you, but he can, make people miss with subtle moves and whatnot.
Yeah, and then this is something too that I think Lamar talked about it, and Reed talked about it in the past too. Is like the difference between being a organized football player and then coming from street football. And I think Lamar is a guy who comes from street football, and you see that with the chemistry that he has with Mark Andrews, where the coaches are like, I don't know what the hell Mark Andrews is doing, but Lamar knows where Mark Andrews is going.
Right.
And I think we see some of that in Will Likely's game. I mean, Will Likely. I don't know why the hell I keep saying Will Likely. And Isaiah Likely's game, where he's able to, freestyle in his routes a little bit and able to kind of play off script and do that. And we know Lamar gravitates to guys like that. Lamar's not a timing guy. He's not any of that. He's a guy, he's going to find you. If you open, you open. If he trusts you, he trusts your hands, trusts your ability to make a play, he's going to give you a chance. And I think Isaiah Likely's that dude.
And what I will say is all these guys that we going to see in the preseason, if they don't do what we expect them to do, don't panic, because keep in mind, 8's not throwing them the ball, and Huntley and Hutley they are not 8 as far as accuracy and zip on the ball and things like that. So if your favorite young guy don't produce like you think in the preseason, don't panic. The only people that don't have that excuse to not produce would be O-linemen and running backs, because they just taking handoffs. But if your favorite receiver don't do whatever, keep in mind of the guy getting them the ball, because you will not see 8. You might see 8 walk across the screen. I don't think you're going to see him in any games. I don't think. All right. Y'all ready?
Let's go.
Let's do it.
Let's talk about let me answer Marcus' question first. He said, does likely create more matchup problems if he's number 3? And I think we kind of all elaborated on that. I think as a consensus, and the other guys too, that he might be number 2. And so he's definitely going to create matchup problems, because if you come in with a light personnel they can motion him in into a box and they can run something. And if you come in with a heavy personnel, they can motion him out and like line him up in the slot and then do some kind of pass stuff with you. So yeah, to answer your question, I think he will be a matchup problem. Appreciate that, Marcus. Receivers, wide receivers. So I don't even know really where to start because it's so it's been the talk
Start
even
with Mike.
before Mike. Okay, go ahead, Mike. Go ahead.
Start with Mike.
Go ahead.
Why so big?
Because we need the good fields. We need the sunshine first.
Hey,
I might
listen.
be with the sunshine too then.
Yeah, I'm saying. So I think I'm hard on this group, right?
Mhm.
It is on the offense. I think as a whole on this team, right? Just because of how much they mean to Lamar, I feel like this is the group that ultimately scares me absolutely the most, right? Just because um, it's not they unproven, right? Um, I just feel like Lamar is that guy who I, I think I said on your show here though. We got a Lamborghini and we putting 87 gas in it. And I just think that everybody else, all of his peers, man, they put any and everything around him that they need, their quarterbacks, like anything they need. And for some reason, we're not doing that here. I last week, I put it on my shoulder. I talked bad about Prochet, and then he been killing his last couple practice.
Yeah.
So that's me. He must have heard me or something, I guess. But
Hey, I'll give you props for owning that because a lot of people wouldn't even bring it up. So I give you props.
yeah,
He looked good today too. He looked good
yeah.
today.
I asked Jose, I said, how was the practice, man? Who stood out? First name he said, he was like, Prochet look good.
He looked good.
And I'm like, oh, okay. All right. And it's a good thing. I want him to succeed, right? I want any wide receiver, any player on this team to succeed. I just don't feel I'm not confident there. And I feel like, I know coach, I know what you're gonna say, opportunity, get them brothers some opportunities and he might show. I just personally feel that the opportunity was there in previous years because we never had that world beating wide receiving room anyway that somebody was holding him back right from taking that shot. But I do, a year later, you're a year better, right?
Yeah.
And maybe that's what we're seeing out of him. So more power to him. But I'm not, I want to see Lamar with the best players at skill positions around him as possible. And I just don't feel we got a number one wide receiver. I don't feel like we have a guy that is we don't have that number one playmaking, like I gotta complete a pass. We need a play. We need a 4 for 13. Like I don't think we got it. But I hope that I'm wrong. But I just hope that we can get one of that type of player for my guy. So yeah, wide receivers. I'm not quite sold on this group. But you know what? This past couple weeks, especially these past couple practices, I'm all in right now. Like let's see what they got. I'm with it. Like let's do it. We here now, so let's just see.
Right.
Let's see what we got in this group now. But check with me in about check with me in about week 6 to see how I feel. But right now I'm nervous. I'm nervous about this group for Lamar, man.
Hopefully week 6 won't be too late. I was I was I was calling for Prochet to play more last year, and I'll say why. Because obviously he was drafted with Duvernay, and they kind of tried to bunch those two guys together. So while doing college film for both of those guys, they were the lowest in the college of drop percentage or whatever that number is people love to throw out there. But they were running two different types of routes. When you look at Duvernay at Texas, Duvernay ran bubbles, Duvernay ran slants, and occasional deep balls. Prochet ran the entire tree. He ran curls, he ran ends, he ran comebacks, he ran slant. Whatever top receivers do, Prochet did it with that not top end speed. because Prochet is way more quick than fast. I think we can all kind of agree on that. And then, since he's been on the team, yes, he has not impressed somebody enough to get on the field. It kind of goes to your point, Mike. But what bothers me with Roman or whoever's making the calls, just like with Lbht, when he finally got the opportunity to play, he had his best game. Keep in mind the offense was different too that game. We ran a lot of quick game stuff for I think Huntley or whoever was quarterback there was. We ran a lot of quick game stuff that game, which fits Prochet. Because Prochet is going to catch the ball. Is he going to beat the best cornerbacks one-on-one? Probably not. But if he had Prochet's, for the most part, not going to drop the ball. And he's not going to pull a Hollywood either. Catch a hitch and lay down. Or catch a slant and lay down. He ain't going to outrun nobody, but he's going to get you tough yards. I think he'll get you tough yards. So, yes, he didn't just outright beat anybody, but I think he was kind of screwed on his opportunity. And I think if he gets the opportunity this year, he's not going to be he's not going to be an all-pro, not going to be an all-star, but I think he can complement the offense. So, and I think in the past I've made it seem like he's going to be a world beater and he's going to save us. I don't think that. I think he'll be a good complement to our tight ends and to if we have a quick game. Because he can get open right now. He probably can't get open deeper down the field versus the faster, bigger guys. But I think he can make people miss off the line and help in the quick game. If
He's
we
a good person to help move the chains.
Yes. He may be the 3rd and 3 guy when they load the box and you have to do a little slant or something like that.
You know what game he did that in? That nobody talks about? The Lions game.
Mm-hmm. He did.
He did that in that last drive.
We were playing like
set up that field goal.
We were playing like poop that game.
Yes.
And as far as total receivers, I'm like you. I was Julio or bust. Now I'm Odell. Later, like go ahead and get him, and when he's ready, week 8 or whatever, integrate him. But I don't think it's certain people. I mean, we just can't pick up a Joe Blow. We got to have a certain guy. I think Julio was that guy. And I wasn't expecting Julio to come in and catch 100 balls. Julio come in and catch 50 balls. Give Lamar a guy that he don't have to be perfectly accurate on to be there. I think Odell's one of those guys where you don't have to be perfectly accurate for him to get off for you. But as far as the room itself, I don't know if the room itself, and this is probably my first time saying this on camera, I don't know if the room itself is good enough. And
Coach, Coach, you just don't want to say.
I just said it.
No, you said I don't know if the room is good enough. You know whether the room is good enough, Coach.
What gives me what makes me think we can make it without him is because how we use the tight ends.
Yeah, and that's my point with Likely. Like I think Likely will, I think he will hide some of the what we don't have in that room if he pans out what we think he is. But I'm looking at Eazy-E's comment where he said, "Imagine if Bateman gets hurt, we done." And that's the point I was making on your show, Hendo. Like that is the scariest part for me. If we lose, not even just Bateman, if we lose one of those guys, Duvernay or Prochet goes down, who's the next? You know what I'm saying? We don't have that. We not deep there.
But didn't that happen in practice? Didn't that happen in practice today?
What?
That Bateman didn't play.
Yeah.
And they said the offense looked kind of off.
And they said that Mark Andrews got more passes than usual.
Yes, he did.
That's tough to
caught everything though. He looked amazing. Yeah.
Who next? Let's see. Go ahead, Hendo. That's why we here. This is why we here, people.
Okay, so for me, I am horrified. I'm mortified. I'm scared. I have so many thoughts when it comes to the wide receiver room because by far Lamar is our best player, by far. And you're telling me that your outlook on this situation is, well, let's wait to see if these guys can kind of catch up to him. This is another year wasted. It's another season that we just don't know. Now, everybody's saying, look, let's give these young guys a chance. Let's give them a chance to burn, see what they can do. Me personally, I thought that's what OTAs, mini camps, training camp was for, to see if they could play. So you've been given your opportunity there. Last year, I don't know if you said it, Mike, or somebody else, but Sammy Watkins got hurt, and none of these dudes came into the game to play. Prochet, I'm pulling for Prochet. I'm a Prochet fan. I'm pulling for him, but to me, he's wide receiver 4. He's not wide receiver 2. Duvernay, he's a little stiff. He can't track the deep ball. He may be a wide receiver 3, possibly, but you have your fans out here saying that Anquan Bolton Jr. Tylan Wallace is supposed to come out here and make these plays. I haven't heard a word about Tylan Wallace. So my biggest beef with this team is what I call organizational hypocrisy. You invest all of this money into stopping a certain position group because you feel like they're dangerous. But when it comes to you building your own position group to be dangerous, you're like, we'll just go with whomever it is and we'll see how it happens. We'll wait and see, and the biggest thing for me is, yes, we have Will Likely. And I think for the majority of the season, we're going to ball out in the middle of the field.
Isaiah Likely.
I mean, sorry.
I know.
We all doing it.
We butchering homie name.
So I just feel like majority of the season with those tight ends, we're going to eat. Like, we're going to carve these teams up and eat. But once it comes playoff time, and just like NBA basketball, it's going to slow down. They're going to scheme it a little different. Now we're going to miss Hollywood Brown because he was the only one that showed up in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. And we're not going to have that outside game that we need to progress to the Super Bowl. We may win a playoff game or two, but we don't know what these wide receivers bring. People, somebody said earlier about, they play in gigantic college stadiums. So they're used to pressure. Listen, playoff pressure and your college game against Akron ain't the same thing. So I just feel like they could have done better. I don't have any faith in this team because draft time, you say to me, hey, we got a plan. EDC has a plan. You knew last year that Hollywood was wanted out. Mm-hmm. And to make things worse, now that I think about it, you knew Hollywood wanted to be out and you cut Boykins. Now that I think about that, you cut Boykins. So you're shrinking your room down, even with Hollywood and Boykins, so to speak. We needed 2 wide receivers. Now we let them 2 go. We didn't get anybody. So you say, hey, we're going to wait to see what happens. You can't tell me that Eric Nacasa's plan was to wait till all of the receivers that we wanted got signed and wait for somebody else to get cut during training camp, because we don't know who's going to get cut. We can't predict that. So I just feel like we are making a big mistake waiting to see what we can give Lamar and surrounding him with that talent to take him over the top.
I forgot about Boykin. I really did. And even if we kept Hollywood, I still wouldn't have the biggest hope for this group, even with Hollywood on the team. I'd probably feel a little better, but my expectation wouldn't be high.
But you would feel like with Hollywood and Bateman, they would be serviceable, because this is my biggest issue with the Hollywood haters out of there. Everybody likes to say, oh, he dropped the 3 balls versus Detroit. He dropped 3 balls the rest of the year. Mm-hmm. He dropped less balls than all of the people that you wanted to bring into the organization. Now, everybody gave Mark Andrews a shot because Mark Andrews' first 3 years, he dropped balls. He came up short in the playoffs.
Touchdowns.
He dropped touchdowns. He came up short in the playoffs. We didn't hear that much backlash. Year 4, he turned it around. This is Hollywood's year 4. We didn't give him that opportunity to see. Hollywood got better year after year after year. Now, you put him
he showed up in the playoffs.
He showed up every playoff game. Now, you put him aside Bateman.
Let me ask you this, though, before you move on. We talk about how playoff football changes and your coverage or whatnot, it gets tougher. Mm-hmm. We all know who Lamar wanted to throw to, Andrews. So do you not think in playoffs, Andrews was more of a focus to the other teams, which allowed Hollywood to be able to work one-on-one more than in regular season?
That might be true, but they focused on Hollywood too because they knew what type of speed he had. He still came up with them tough catches. Look at the catch against the Titans. That one-hander at the right before the half. Yep. Regardless of what you say, he showed up. And my biggest problem is just that we didn't give him a chance. And I've seen Bateman at camp, and Bateman looks good. Like Bateman looks really good out there. So you put Bateman on one side, Hollywood on the other, and Andrews and Likely in there, it may not be the best situation, but it is 10 times better than what we have right now.
True. Jose, that wasn't so bad.
No, it wasn't too bad. Look, look, I'm an older head, right? I'm an older head. Like I when I hear people say, "Hey, give," like we gotta let Prochet play. You gotta see what Tyler Walls has. We gotta see what these young guys have. Like I've been thinking about myself 20 years ago, saying this about DeVar Darling, right? And Tommy and Tommy
Thank you,
Streeter,
Oh,
hey, what's
right.
up, Danny?
Hey,
Tommy
Streeter.
Streeter, yeah, and he had speed, and I was just like, oh, you just gotta get him out there. You gotta give him a shot. We got Ramses Barden from the Giants. Like, he's 6'7". Like he's a red zone threat. Everything that we say about these players now, I've been through that, man. I've been through that. We've never had a player like Lamar Jackson, and like you said, Hendo, he's the best player on the team by far. You have to put the focus around him. Surround him with as many weapons, the best weapons you possibly can. And they're going in the opposite direction, man. You traded Hollywood Brown, and you're just like, no, we're good. We'll figure it out, right? Like, yes, we have this. If you watch our channel, we had this Prochet debate all the time, right? And you would think that I hate Prochet. I don't hate Prochet. I just don't think he's anything special. And I think we all agree, like, we don't think he's going to be some superstar wide receiver. He has a role on the team. I'm good with that. But when we're saying, hey, man, I would love to get somebody like Devontae Adams for Lamar, that would be great. And your response is, we don't need Adams. We got Prochet and Duvernay. Like, I'm sorry, I don't accept that.
Realistically, the thing is, they would probably say we don't need Devontae Adams. We got Mark Andrews. Realistically,
they will
that's
say
what
that.
somebody would probably say. And I think in their mind, and I think it's crazy that they're putting Andrews on the pedestal as like he's our number one receiver, even though he plays tight end.
So Mark Andrews is one of the top wide receivers in the league.
But you think about the Raiders now, like I don't know if you're finna say it. The Raiders got probably one of the best tight ends, and now they have one of the best receivers.
So yeah,
for an average quarterback,
and one of the best slots.
Yeah, Mark Andrews is one of those players. Yes, you got What you say, Coach?
No, I was asking, was he talking about Renfro?
Oh, Renfro, yeah. But Mark Andrews, yes, he's one of the top tight ends in the league, and you got a game plan for him because you leave him open, he'll catch those passes all day. But he's not the type of person that you look at and you think, man, like, we gotta really try to shut him down because he'll catch one and take it to the house on us, right? Like Travis Kelce, if you give him a little space, he will smoke you, right? Mm-hmm. So he's not on that level. He's just a slightly step below that, right? Mm-hmm. He's not that big time playmaker. Even with Gronk didn't have the speed, but it's just like he catches the ball, like you're not bringing him down, and game over. So like, he's not quite at that level. So I don't like when people compare these top wide receivers that can change the game to Mark Andrews. Like, yeah, I love that we have Mark Andrews, but we need more. We need more than that. And Travis Kelce, yeah, he had Pat Mahomes had Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill, right? I mean, Coach, you saw the game last year.
And what you call him? What's the number 17?
Nico Hardman.
Yeah, I mean, we all saw the game last year. I mean, Tyreek Hill's is throwing up the peace sign to defenders that were 5 yards ahead of him because he knew that he was going to go right by him.
Who stopped Tyreek Hill at the end to help us win that game? What corner was that?
Help us win the game?
Yeah, against
Anthony.
Was that Avery?
Oh yeah, okay, just checking.
Avery. yeah.
Well, hold on. Hendo and Mike might not know. I defended Avery the entire year.
Yeah, newsflash: B. Moore can now develop young wide receivers. Martin and Williams hire will pay dividends this season. That's what they said last season. Like, I mean, look, listen, guys. I've been watching them for a long time. I can tell. I mean, everything that you're saying, you're not saying anything new. Anytime there's a shiny new toy, it's, hey, this is going to be different. This year's going to be different. The Ravens plan on good overall, but the offensive scheming hinders the team. Yeah, that's why you need playmakers. You need great talent to mitigate bad play calling, right? Or subpar play calling. Just because the schemes aren't great, that's not an excuse to not give talent. That's more of a reason to get better talent so they can make up for it.
So I saw that Greg put up a comment saying we can't have everything. Why didn't they tell that to the Rams? Because they have somebody on every level.
I think that goes to management. This is my personal opinion on that.
They
don't care. The Rams don't care about paying the tax.
But
the Ravens are trying to be. The Rams are that designer brand.
But coach,
the Rams. What we're trying to do is we're trying to get a whole house function off Walmart furniture.
And I got you. But people sit there and say, look, you can't do what the Rams do. I'm not saying totally go into what the Rams did, but you have to look at it like this. The Rams have been in 2 of the last 4 Super Bowls.
Sure have.
We haven't been in one in 10 years.
Yep.
So you can have everything and win it all. So I just wanted to comment on that.
You can even gamble. Take a gamble for like a 2-year deal on somebody. I mean, you may win, you may lose. Bet big, you win big, and that's what the Rams did.
But let's say we were the ones that traded for Devontae Adams, and we gave him a brand new deal. How does that hurt us? Like, what are we losing that makes us say, man, we shouldn't have made that deal?
Baltimore fans' pockets, because the fans pockets seem to hurt worse than everybody else's, because no matter who the player is, oh no, he's not worth that.
Because I asked that, and you guys already know are saying hashtag defund the defense, right?
Defund the defense.
Like, stop putting all your resources into the defense. The defense is fine. Stop spending all your high resources into the defense. Spend it on the offense, because when it comes down to it, if we don't win, we're putting it on Lamar.
Yep.
Right? We're not putting it on the defense. I mean, we just talked about the expectations for the defense, right? I said top 5 because we spent so much resources on it. But even as a top 5 defense, we're never going to look at this team and say, or that side of the ball and say, they have to win us this game, right? It's always going to be on Lamar. So give him what he needs to win the games.
Let me get this right quick. I asked about Michael Thomas, but you mentioned the Saints not wanting him. And no, I'm saying I think the Saints do want him. I don't think they're willing to give up on him because they have a nice receiving core there with Winston. That's why I don't think they are even listening to offers for Michael Thomas.
And even if they were, we're not giving up that type of capital to get him.
Right. And I mean, he was too expensive for us, but I don't think the Saints are even, looking to get rid of him. Especially they realistically think they have a shot because of what Jose was saying. You don't have to stop people. You don't have to hold people to 12 points anymore in NFL. It's damn near impossible. You can't. You can't do it. You have to score now.
Yeah.
You have to score. But Chris, did I get you for receivers?
No, not yet.
Go ahead. It's on you.
So obviously, during the draft cycle, I kind of fell in love with the idea of getting a wide receiver. And I was like, damn, imagine if they get Drake London, they got Hollywood, and they got Bateman. That's exciting. And you got Duvernay, you got Tylan Wallace, you got Prochet. Now we're just down to Bateman. So that idea was totally scrapped. But what gives me hope is that I look at the 2019 wide receiver corps. When you had Chris Moore, you had a rookie Miles Boykin, you had a rookie Hollywood, you had Seth Roberts, Willie Snead. And I think this group, Des Bryant, damn, forgot about that. I look at that and it gives me a little glimmer of hope because I think this group is more talented than that group. They can catch, which is very important.
Yes.
They might not have all the, the ins and out about route running and be savvy, but they can catch. And that's the first thing a wide receiver needs to know how to do is catch. Mm-hmm. And I have the utmost confidence in this group in being able to catch. I think Rashad Bateman, all the reports in camp saying, he's looking stellar. And if he can stay healthy, it looks like he's going to take that next step in year 2. Now, what's going on behind him? That's a whole different story. Like you guys said, Prochet is doing his thing in practice, but practice is practice.
Mm-hmm.
Games are completely different. Every year we hear about this.
Mhm.
Oh, this dude. Oh, Tim White. Damn, Tim White is coming through like gangbusters. But I don't mean to dump on these dudes. I don't mean to dump on a Prochet. When he's been on the field, he's been able to show what he could do. I like him coming out of SMU too. So I think you give these guys an opportunity, and I think they'll rise to the occasion. Not saying they're going to become, Pro Bowlers or anything like that, but I think they'll be dependable guys where it's not like, oh damn, Lamar is throwing the ball and these dudes can't catch. I think that they'll be an average group. And I think they can win with this group. My main thing is keeping Lamar protected. I feel like wherever the O-line goes, that's where this team goes.
Mm-hmm.
Because if Lamar is protected, if the running game is on point, then I think Lamar can make it work with these wide receivers. Is it an ideal situation? Hell no. Of course I would love if they had Devontae Adams. Who wouldn't, But I think they can make this. I would rather they have these questions at wide receiver than at offensive line, because when you have those questions at offensive line, everything is out the window. The run game, the pass game, everything is messed up.
Trust me, I know. First
and we saw that last year. We saw what happened when the O-line went down. So hopefully we're all down on them, but these are young dudes, so hopefully they could make us shut up and we see some kind of progression. Somebody in the chat said it, with Keith Williams and T. Martin coaching these dudes up. Hopefully we see a jump in these guys play, and hopefully they could shut us up, because right now they're going to have an opportunity. This is the place to be right now if you are looking for an opportunity.
Ain't nothing between them but air and opportunity.
Right.
as they say in the hood.
The only thing.
You know what's going to happen then.
Now I got a question for the whole panel, because I'm interested to see what you guys say. Who do you guys think? Now, we know Rashad Bateman, Duvernay, Prochet, Tylan Wallace. Who would be your fifth guy out of, other than the guys that I just named, that are on this roster? Not anybody on the outside, on this roster, if you had to pick up.
I was hoping it would be Polk, because he's 6'3", had 100-something catches in the SEC. I was hoping it was going to be Polk. I don't really know. I think the preseason game is going to be big for him. I just haven't heard enough, but I haven't seen any practice. All I can go off what people say that's been there, and what people print, and then some of the people that print the stuff, I question their footballness.
True.
They may be great journalists and can report what they see, but I question the nuance of what they see and whatnot. So I ain't like, I'm not trying to dump on them, but I need to see it myself. Like old boy told the girl in Players Club, don't trust nobody else's research. I got to do my own. But and Greg just put it down there. I hear a lot out of Shamar Bridges, but I personally hope it's Polk because of his production versus in the SEC. The only negative part of that is he played for Leach. And Leach throw that sun gun 9 out of 10 plays.
Air it up.
I'm gonna go with Polk as well. I actually saw him at the bank during the little scrimmage. He looked pretty good. Like, he looked like he could turn into something with a little more seasoning. So I'm gonna have to go with Polk.
I think the guy's going to be Benjamin Victor. But I would have liked it to be Devin Williams. Just because I would like to see Lamar play with a wide receiver with some size and
get him Jose.
No, I ain't gonna question. I ain't gonna question.
No, I mean, just because
5'2",
40. I do like Polk though. I think Polk, out of all of them, is built like somebody that can. I don't want to say like a Debo, but like
he moves like the boy in Arizona. Not saying he's gonna be that good. Mm-hmm. The one that we almost had. His body movements remind me of Hopkins.
Yeah.
Not saying he's Hopkins.
Well, listen, if Jose not gonna say it, I'm gonna say it to you. Size is not a skill.
It's not a skill. It's not. But some people look the part,
What we
right?
talking about here now?
I mean,
no,
but
yeah.
he looked the part, right? It's like, okay, let's see what we can do with this guy. But
And you think he have a leg up because of the quarterback being there, but it don't seem like that's working out for him.
Yeah. The weird thing is, like, my bad, Zay.
No, go ahead. Finish
The weird thing is, like, usually at this point, right? It's still early, but usually by this time we hear of one of these undrafted guys that's like, yo, they killing. Now you hearing a little bit about a few guys that's out there, Bridges and stuff like that, but usually it's one that's like, all right, you gotta watch him, watch him, and it's not. You don't hear that. So me trying to keep it positive. I'm hoping that it's a guy that's really doing something and they kind of keeping it under the radar, not really pumping them up or not saying much about it. But I think Victor has the leg up as of right now, just from experience and he seemed to be looking okay out there.
Yep.
No, that's exactly what I was gonna say. Benjamin Victor, that game that J.K. Dobbins got hurt in last year.
Yeah, he played well.
He played really well. Really well, and he's a tall receiver. He might be taller than Devin Williams, for being honest. He's a tall wide receiver. He looked taller out there. So it's just a matter of, if he's going to get the opportunities. I don't know about that. Excuse me. He looked good in drills. He didn't get that many targets during their little scrimmage. They're like red zone drills. Shamar Bridges, he did look good though. So between those two, but I'm leaning towards Benjamin Victor because, like you said, the experience.
That's just us trying to figure this out and have to wonder about undrafted free agents goes to say what our wide receiver room looks like.
Yep.
And I was for a long time I was here with it, but I see the whole picture now. Football's upon us, and the wild card is we have a guy that can take average guys and make them, I ain't gonna say great, but make them serviceable.
Mm-hmm.
And that's 8. And I'd much rather him throw to those guys and get them opportunities than him to be running for his life behind the O-line. So that's that's where I'm at with it. So what you got any parting shots, any questions for each other?
What do y'all think the overall record is going to be for the season?
I'm gonna say ceiling 14, floor 11. As far as
I'm with Coach. I think I picked 13. Our issue isn't regular season. It's what we're going to do in the playoffs with this group. I think healthy Lamar, a protected Lamar, we can win a lot of games, even against some of these good teams. And we have some good teams on our schedule this year. It's going to be interesting. But we can win those games. But it's when we get to the playoffs and we got to show something new, right? What does Giro have in his vault? Right? He's got 20% more something. What's 20%? What's 20% more? Nothing. He needs to show more in the playoffs. That's where we're falling short. And look, if you don't have anything, because this is going back to 2019. If you don't have anything more, then go with what got you there, right? Don't start passing the ball 60 times. Run the rock, right? Mm-hmm. That's what if that's what you living by, die by that. Run the ball to really give you the best chance you possibly can. Of course, they're not going to catch the ball in the playoffs. They ain't practiced that, right? They haven't seen, they didn't see that many targets all year, and now you're trying to give it to them in the biggest game of the year. Of course, it's going to go terribly. So if you want to be that hard-nosed run team and hard-nosed defense, then stick with that all the way through. Yeah. So.
Somebody best mentioned, I do like the fact that we're under center. I was kind of against it, but I can see the benefits of it, especially since Linderbaum's on the team. If we're under center, outside zone needs to be one of the base runs, and that will help when Lamar has to boot off of it. That would definitely help.
They wanted to do that last year too, but with all the offensive line stuff, They just had to scrap it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. But even if we didn't, we didn't have guys that can move like Linderbaum.
Yeah, I mean
Having
they
that
aren't.
center that can move is the key to outside zone.
Yeah,
He
there
don't
aren't
have to
many
be
guys
strong.
that can do that. Yep.
Yeah. And we can work on some rollout stuff now that we got a center that can move. Some little additions to the offense will help out. Because I think, and this is going to be crazy to say, I think Lamar throws better on the run than in the pocket.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
feel
I
like
think
him,
he could
stepping up
definitely see the
and
defense
escaping.
better. Yeah, he could see the defense better, manipulate them a little bit better when he's outside of the pocket because all eyes go on him. So it's like he could use his eyes way better, and everybody's going to be looking at what he's doing. He could just point guard his way down the field.
When he runs out the pocket, it shifts the whole defense, right? So that's now people are open. So yeah, I think it's easier for him just rolling out the pocket. Just rolling out the pocket. It's that split second of he might run is going to make that defense pause just for a quick second, and that helps get wide receivers open.
And not just in 2-point conversion situations either.
Right.
Yeah.
But anybody else got questions? Because we've been 2:15, and I want to thank you guys because I was late, and everybody that's wondering where we was at, it was me. It was
all good.
But they stuck with me. And I think we had a great show. I think this is probably one of the best live shows I've had. I think it got up to like 120 something. So I appreciate you guys for coming through.
Nice.
Hey, everybody, Hendo show, tell everybody where they can get you at. While we over 100 right now. Maybe you can get you some subs out of this.
Maybe. Okay, you can find me at Ravens Online and Gatekeeper on YouTube, or you can find me at our Gatekeepers on Twitter and Instagram. And thank you for having me, Coach.
If you can, put it in the chat box real quick. If you got your phone or something, put it in the chat box real quick. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, man. Look, I appreciate you having me on, Coach. Man, this was a blast. We must do it again. I think that from the chat, I think they feeling this panel right here. So we gotta do something again, either before the season start or midway through or something like that. But
let's go ahead and after the 53s put up.
Yeah,
let's run it back.
For sure.
We'll get to see all 3 preseason games and kind of have a better idea of who's doing what and what not. And let's run it back after that. Well, not just after that last preseason game, because I think we got a week off before it jumps off. So sometime after the last preseason game, when everybody's schedule fits right, we'll run it back.
Sounds good.
Put your stuff in the chat box too. All right, so people can just click in it and go from there. Jose.
All right, I am one half of Lunch Break Hot Take and also 1/3 of Ring Kings podcast. The Lunch Break Hot Take, you can see us every Wednesday at 7:15 p.m. Eastern time. We also do an overtime show for our patrons following that show. And you can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and TikTok at LBHT Show. And if you're a boxing fan, all those places at Ring Kings Pod.
Question. The Ring Kings Pod, is it strictly boxing or is it MMA?
It's strictly boxing. We talk a little bit of MMA because we're trying to get Mikey to become an MMA fan, but we do a lot of MMA stuff on Lunch Break Hot Take as well. So most of the time, if you see a big UFC fight, we're going to live stream on Lunch Break Hot Take after that fight. He'll be like 2:00 in the morning, but we do it.
I've recently became a UFC fan recently.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'm really excited about Usman coming up here. Later this month.
Yes.
Usman, Adesanya, and what's the other African? Those are my 3 favorites.
Ngannou.
I love those 3 guys, and I'm a fan of MMA now. No, not is it MMA? Did I say that right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, MMA. Yep, mixed martial arts. Yep, you got it.
Chris?
Yeah, you catch me at the Deep Cover Pod. We got a channel on YouTube. We got the Twitter. We're always, dropping stuff, whether it's draft related, fantasy related, Ravens related, even just life. Hit us up. We there. Always engaging with everybody. So just hit us up on the Deep Cover Pod.
So, with that being said, man, I appreciate you guys for coming through. I appreciate everybody that hit the like button, everybody that donated. Appreciate the the two from Brandon just then. This was a blast, man. It
Yes,
was
sir.
it was
Yes, sir.
crazy. And next time we'll have more specific things to talk about because this was in general really a generalization. We didn't have specific topics, but once we see people in game situations, we'll have real thoughts and opinions about Prochet and these young cornerbacks and these O line and whatnot, and we can bring it to you because you got a diverse group of guys up here. And as you can see, that nobody really was amen in the next person. Everybody had their own opinion. If it was similar to the next guy, it was spoke. And if Hendo felt a certain way, it probably wasn't nothing I could say to change it. And it just was respectful discussion. It was respectful discussion, and it didn't
Grown
seem like
man
it's been 2 hours.
discussion.
Exactly.
Grown man discussion. No
Exactly.
yelling. No, it's my turn. It's my turn to talk.
You don't know what you're talking about. You ain't even been a fan since '99.
Hey, coach.
Uh-huh.
Can you see if you got a super chat from a Shug?
Shug.
Don't
Yes,
read
because
it.
he's a
Just take
Steelers, he's a Steelers fan, and he's complaining that it's a bias against him that you didn't put his comment up.
Hey, take his money and don't read it.
I do.
It's actually not that.
One.
It's actually not that bad though.
I do have
Shout out
one.
to my man.
Here
Shug,
for the
man. That's our
homies
boy.
from
That's
the
a good
Lunch
boy.
Break Hot Take crew, and you are my favorite host, OTR Mike. I'm sorry, Shug. I do notice that Shug was giving somebody a hard time the other day, so I noticed his name. My bad, Shug. I'm sorry. I did see it, but it went. I was getting comments and it went too fast. That's apologies. And I'm not on my normal screen too. Normally on my screen I do OBS and I can see everybody's and I can kind of go back and give everybody their props. But I'm doing this through StreamYard and it's kind of moving fast on me.
And don't apologize to Shug. It's all good.
Yeah, he
Okay.
Hey, Shug, I love you, Shug. You know I love you, Shug.
But again, I appreciate everybody that donated. I appreciate you guys for hanging with me on a Friday night because we could have been anywhere in the world, but you chose to be here with me, and I appreciate it, man. I really sorry for being late, but it was a great show. Great show.
Yes, sir.
So I'm y'all don't leave yet. I'm gonna end the broadcast though.
Okay.
Peace, y'all.